Welcome back, everybody. How's it going? We are going to be playing some Football Manager today. We're going to be jumping back into Football Fridays. This is what we started doing just because it's the game that I knew if any game could be played, it was this one. And now we've tried a couple of other things, and it's been fun to being a little bit more diversified in our streaming and what we're doing. But this is kind of what we built our backbone on, and it's the game that I still think about probably more than anything else. And so I wanted to jump right back into it. Where we left off last time, here, let me get the game actually pulled up. Get the medicine, get everything going. And there we go. Cool. Where we left off last time was we were here with the Cherries in Bournemouth. We have gone past current match day in our actual recording and in everything that we're doing. We have gotten to the 17th, which would be next week. Last time we played our games against Everton. We had a draw away at Chelsea, and we ended up beating Manchester United. And then we ended up beating Aston Villa in the cup on penalties in a late penalty shootout that we only saw our win come because of an amazing Petrovic save against Bogard. While Diakite made his penalty to see us through to victory. This is the first time, admittedly, that I've tried to watch a highlight. A massive save from Jordi Petrovic. I've got to change my settings on my end. The noise is too loud in my own ears. There we go. Now I can actually hear myself think. But yeah, so we're going to pick up where we left off this time. We're going to try and play through until the beginning of the transfer window in tonight's stream. That should be a really easy goal to accomplish. That's going to get us through till this Sunday, the 4th of January. We're going to go Burnley, Brentford, and Chelsea again. It's our second match against Chelsea this season. And if we get past that, we get past that. But I want to at least make it to the end of the year in this stream so that next week when we come back to the stream, it's going to be a transfer window special. And we'll look at what we're going to try and do in the transfer window, whether there's some players that we end up having people make moves on that we need to move on, or whether or not we are going to just be consolidating what we are doing. But we are doing really well right now at Bournemouth. We are sitting at third in the table, 1 point behind Liverpool in second, and 11 points behind league leaders Arsenal, who have gone on to only lose one game this entire simulated season, which is impressive. Okay. Hop in. Let's hop in. Amina Gallo gets a 6.8 and a 5-2 victory for Burkina Faso. Delighted with our Club Vision progress. We have spent the original transfer budget. That's what they're happy about. They're happy about us spending the original transfer budget, and they're happy about us finishing in mid-table in the Premier League. Which, you know, I can get that. That's fine. But interesting things to be so excited about. We're up against Burnley next. Big goal for today, chat, is what we started with last time, where we were building out our two teams. This was a first team game, so now we're going to try and make sure that we can actually rotate pretty well, and we're going to be playing our second team against Burnley at the weekend. So, and once again, it's not going to do that for us automatically, so we're going to have to do it manually when we get into team selection. Adam Smith getting injured is not great. It's not a good look for us. Luckily, it's only a tight calf, so he's only out for a couple of days. Tactical advice. They want us to play positive for the first time ever. Ooh, we beat Sheffield United under 21s. Costa Gonzalez. Actually not going to get any better. And then Spence, who's also not very good. So why are you telling us about these guys? Training is going well. Getting good training ratings. I do like seeing a big upturn in long shots. 10 long shots, still not good. But I do like that we're getting better. Still gonna praise training where we've got it. Okay. Also, chat, just giving you the heads up. The pinned message in the chat is for the new YouTube video. This is the big project that I've been talking about for several weeks at this point. It finally premiered today. I have made my first foray into something that I think is always going to be a part of this channel, which is making content based around one of my many passions, which is Magic the Gathering. And the first foray into that is the first episode of a series I am calling internally and now externally Legends of the Pro Tour. The process behind it is that I asked myself the question a couple of months ago when I started on this project of, I wonder what the actual most played legendary creature is at any given Pro Tour, because we do have in the history of the Pro Tour a whole bunch of different legends and a whole bunch of different stories that come around very influential cards in the history of it. Most notably, for the one that we focused on here, I worked on what at the time of the initial outset of the project was the most recent Pro Tour, which was Edge of Eternities. Since then, we've had Worlds, which I'm going to start looking into the data for soon, and then start working my way backwards as I can get the process going faster. But what I was able to find is that as a person that watches a lot of Pro Tours and had watched Pro Tour Edge of Eternities, the main thing going out of Pro Tour Edge of Eternities was that they were talking a lot about the overperformance of a couple of really good new cards from Modern Horizons 3, as well as some cards from Edge of Eternities, namely Quantum Riddler, and I think the three most populous cards in the tournament were Quantum Riddler, Psychic Frog, and Ephemerate, I think. But that the main story of the tournament was that they couldn't stop talking about the tournament eventual winner, which was the artifact strategy built around Tameshi, one of my personal favorite legendary creatures of all time. I used to play the original Tameshi combo in Modern, and then now Tameshi is, instead of being played in Tameshi combo, is being played in Goblin Charbelcher decks and in Charbelcher lists. And that was kind of the story. And what we found when we looked at the data, and by we I mean me, in the video, is that the actual most played legend at the Pro Tour was Flage. And then after Flage, it was Atraxa Grand Unifier, Ragavan, and then Tameshi, in those orders. Which was really interesting to me. The most populous deck at the tournament was Esper Goryo's Vengeance, which explains a lot of the reasons that we were seeing things like which is why we were seeing mostly the things in it like the large turnout for Atraxa. Atraxa was entirely played in those Reanimator strategies. Ragavan and Flage make sense because the third most popular deck was Boros Energy, and that is a deck that plays both of those cards. But even then, there was significantly more Flage than there was Ragavan, by about 22 copies, which is, if you're assuming 4 of in each deck, 5.5 more decks that had in them the Titan than the Monkey. Okay. Nagalo needs to go out for Milosevich. Dennis, are you still injured? Dennis is still injured, so we'll not actually have Dennis. We'll just keep Jordy in. And then Freeman, Christie, Richardson, Trufair, Gannon Doak. Gannon Doak played, so we'll actually put in... is Brooks in? Brooks is in. And so is Tavernier. I'm fine playing Gavin Doak twice. And then let's clear our bench and have it auto-pick our bench from available players. And remove Solaire. Solaire shouldn't be in any list. Why won't you let me remove Solaire? That will do it. And let's actually swap these two, because Hill is our right-sided center back for sure. But anyways, the whole video is about that, and then at the end of the video, I make a couple of different versions of a commander deck using my own tool that I built using the template from the Game Zone, the Command Zone people, to build a commander deck that truly exemplifies the most populous legend at this Pro Tour, and hopefully challenges the way you think about what actually comes out and what the narrative's going into it and out of it were. Since the narrative going in was very much everyone's trying to beat what everyone's perceiving as the best deck in format, which was Boros Energy going into this tournament. And because everyone's trying to beat Boros Energy, we run the risk, when you aren't able to do that, if we aren't playing the right cards, that it might fall apart. But, as we know, Boros Energy largely laid a big old egg during that tournament, and so we instead see what we did see, which is a big turnaround and a really big show out for these Tameshi artifact-based strategies, leveraging a lot of the work off of the new MDFCs from Modern Horizons 3, and a lot of work just from the community around that deck in general. One of the fun things about playing Modern in my local community for the little bit that I have done it, and talking in the local discords for my community is that one of the progenitors of that Tameshi Belcher strategy is a player in my local meta. They were instrumental in working with a couple of other people across the internet to put together that deck, and they're known here locally for always playing really innovative combo decks, not necessarily to the best success, but definitely having the most fun at the tournament, which is really cool to me. And as a person that also likes playing janky combo decks, it's been really interesting to, for me, see the entire branching just decision tree that went into the making of that deck, and now ultimately the big turnout that is the deck being so good in practice. I mean, it just won a Pro Tour. It is the current best, for lack of a better term, it is the current best deck in Modern by official of that caliber tournament results. But anyways, I would really appreciate it if you guys give it a look. If you want to know more about the ways that I worked on it, I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want to have access to the spreadsheet that I used in making those Commander videos, I have attached a link to it in the description of that video, as well as I posted it on Reddit earlier today in the EDH subreddit. And I know a lot of people have been looking at that already today. I would really appreciate feedback. It's something that I was teaching myself how to do, especially with all of the programming and things around. I set up the Google Sheet to be able to tie in information from Scryfall, to be able to populate with a lot of the information for these cards if you just put in the title of them. And so it was a really fun and neat learning experience. And I personally find the tool very helpful in my own life, which is why I wanted to share it with people. But I am the first to admit that it's not a perfect tool, nor is it a perfect system. And there's probably a lot that can be done to improve it. I just need to know what that feedback is, and I'm happy to continue improving and sharing and making it the best that we can do. And hopefully it drives a lot of more people into watching the streams and to watching the... I don't know what happened again, but our match speed got changed again. So now we're going real slow during highlights. That does make us 2 for 2 now on coming into this game, and they change our preferences without us knowing. Okay, we'd like to see better results. Oh, Tavernier, nice. We didn't get the second ball or the first ball on that one. Ben Gannon Doak. Okay, long shot. Wasn't too far off, but we'll see. No, but yeah, we are definitely controlling this match. We are winning the way we want to be winning, with one big flaw, which is we have not scored and therefore are not technically winning. We just are dominating every part of the game and cannot score. And that is not a good look. So hopefully that gets turned around. In other news, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to talk about the scores from the midweek games this week. Because I have been watching all of the highlights for the Champions League and for Europa League, and it has been a wild week. Oh, there we go, Marcus Tavernier. Let's go! Golazo! Another classic James Hill long throw to set up the goal. Richardson, that's why we signed him, 6'5", always going to be first of the ball. Laid off by Ryan Christie, and then Marcus Tavernier just hit it so well. Took 54 minutes, but we finally get a lead against bottom of the league Burnley. Freeman. Chance to do something here. Finds Christie on the overlap. Christie plays it back across to Richardson at the top of the box. He finds Tavernier. True fair. Back to Richardson. We know he can hit him from there. And he does. Oh, and only the feet of Matt Weiss are able to keep it out of the net. That was another low-driven, great effort by Richardson. Okay, let's look. Okay, we have Milosevic literally looks like he's going to die right now. So let's see who we have on the bench. We have both the Diakite and Senesi. We'll bring in Senesi. Otherwise, Freeman also looking very tired. Jimenez can come on for him. Richardson is tired for some reason. And Richardson can probably be replaced by Cook. And then Gannon-Doak, we understand why Gannon-Doak is tired. Gannon-Doak can get replaced by, honestly, Brooks going out to the outside and Scott coming on for Gannon-Doak. A lot of changes early, but we played 2 games this week, and we don't necessarily have the squad depth to be able to doing the rotations that we are doing right now. And we really didn't do ourselves a great favor by not rotating earlier in the season. So a lot of our key players are either not match fit in the case of our second string players, or really tired because they've played 90 minutes of every game of the entire season, like a lot of our starters. But no, it was a really interesting match week, I think, in Champions League and all that stuff. Specifically, I was, always cheering on the downfall of major teams. So it was really interesting to watch the Man City versus Real Madrid highlights. The downfall of Real Madrid in the past couple of games is something that should probably be studied by scholars greater than me, but I'm the one you've got. So my take on it is that I do think that there's something to be said for the way that Xabi Alonso runs his teams. He is very much a system-first coach, not a player-first coach. And it's gotten him a lot of success in his career. Being able to have the first invincible season in the Bundesliga's history while leading a team that wasn't Bayern Munich to that point is absolutely insane. And we just let in a goal from Jadon Anthony. That is unfortunate. What happened here? Let in a corner? Okay, so we just didn't get the second ball. Played it back into the corner taker. Why is no one closing down on Jadon Anthony? Senesi, you were standing right there. Really is a shame that Senesi didn't do literally anything to stop that. Oh, we got shouts now. Shouts are back, baby. Big fan of the shouts. But getting back to Xabi Alonso, the fact that he was able to have an undefeated, invincible season with Bayer Leverkusen for the first time in the history of the Bundesliga speaks to the credit that the man does know what he's doing. He is highly qualified, but I can get that there is a unique challenge that comes to managing clubs, whether they are, in the case of Real Madrid, actually at the top of their domestic and international leagues. I don't think that there's any contention there that Real Madrid is one of the biggest and most... Oh my goodness, what in the world was that? That was an absolute worldie for Burnley to take the lead in the last minute of the game. Jordy, you got to just grab those. But Lewis Cook, where's your close down? That was... Jordy, you were in no man's land. What in the world was that? Okay, at least we don't lose. An immediate response from Marcus Tavernier to give him a brace on the evening and hopefully salvage a point from what would have been a super embarrassing end to our undefeated streak. To go and lose to Burnley at home at the Vitality Stadium after a 10-game unbeaten streak in the league and cups. Thank you, Marcus Tavernier. Get your hats ready. Nope, that's it. Marcus Tavernier, take a bow. You saved our bacon. Incredible. Okay, so we might not be good enough with our second team to be rotating yet. Not a surprising finding, but next game we are definitely playing the starting players. Gannon Doak is now 1 appearance for making 15 appearances. Jaden Anthony. Jaden Anthony was a former Bournemouth player, really? Yeah, he played for us last season. Well, he started the season with us last season. He's probably a youth player. He was originally an Arsenal Academy product, but then Bournemouth Youth Academy until he went to Weymouth, and then most time played for the Bournemouth was in 21-22 to get them up from the Championship, and then their first season in the Premier League, and then it was back down to the Championship for Leeds, and then back down to Burnley, and then they bought him in full this season after getting promoted back up. Okay. Probably counts as homegrown at club, though. And it's apparently very fast. Yeah, acceleration, pace are both above what we'd expect them to be for our level. Interesting. Good to know. Good to know. Anyways, trying to get back to the point that I was talking to about the situation at Real Madrid. Losing to Celta Vigo, getting the 2 red cards. I watched the extended highlights of that game, and the take that I had on it is that in that game, honestly, no team looked like they deserved to win other than Celta Vigo at really any point in time. Celta Vigo was very much in control and taking charge of the match from beginning to end. And it was just a couple of really sloppy decisions from the characters on the Madrid team to get themselves sent off, is the reality of that situation. Which is getting back to the other point of Xabi Alonso is a systems manager. He was able to put together a really intelligent tactical system with Bayern Leverkusen to make them one of the biggest threats in the Bundesliga for his tenure there. To the point that even now, going through all of the things that Bayer Leverkusen went through, having the Erik ten Hag moment at the beginning of the season and now coming back into it, they are still performing very, very well. Drawing against Newcastle this week in the Champions League, and Bayer Leverkusen find themselves in the Bundesliga, if I remember correctly, pretty close to the top. Yeah, they're in 4th, so they're going to have Champions League, if the table ended right now, football again next year. They're only 5 points behind Dortmund, 6 points behind Leipzig, and then admittedly, Bayern is running rampant. They're looking for an invincible season under Vincent Kompany this year. It doesn't look close. And so, you've got that going on. But even with him gone, they're still using a lot of the same pieces that he brought in. They've also gotten heavily poached by other players and of their players from other teams in and out of the Bundesliga. Frimpong went to Liverpool. Granit Xhaka is setting the world on fire at Sunderland right now, which is really interesting. And Jonathan Tah went to Bayern. Like, a lot of these really key players from that Invincibles team under Alonso are gone, and they're still using a very similar system to what they were using then. Grimaldo is playing amazing, as always. And we find ourselves in the interesting situation where his system is still performing, but he, as a manager, is now running into some problems at Real Madrid. And I do think that that's going to be something that we need to give him time for. I'm very much in the advocate of don't fire Xabi Alonso, but we're seeing just some weird reports come out of his camp of just like all of the drama around Vinicius Jr., admittedly one of the best players in the world. I don't think anyone is contending that in any way, shape, or form. But when you're having the type of reactions that Vinny Jr. is having to being taken out of the match before the end of the 90 minutes by your manager, or not getting picked, or going public to the press and speaking into how you might have been slighted. Trust me, I get it. I'm a really big fan of Brazilian players and Brazil in general. I speak fluent Portuguese. A seleção is very important to me. And I do think that he's one of the best young Brazilian talents in the world right now. You still have to have the idea that if you're trying to transition out of the Galacticos era, which Real Madrid is saying they want to do, and then taking actions that are going kind of counterintuitive to that, especially with bringing in players like Mbappe, which when you're trying to say, we don't want to be a Galacticos team anymore, and then you bring in one of the biggest names in world football and one of the biggest strikers in the world in Kylian Mbappe, that's not really, talking the talk and matching it by walking the walk. But to do that, you have to make it so that the culture at its core is full of players that are willing to be system players and not trying to be superstars. If you want to have a team that's trying to be superstars and be the Galacticos era and things like that, I think that generally world football as a whole is moving away from, with some key exceptions, those being, honestly, Barcelona is still trying to play Galacticos football, and Hansi Flick is very much trying to do that. And they went through this exact same trajectory that we're seeing with Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid this year. Back when they had Xavi, not Alonso, just Xavi, as their coach, and he was doing pretty good for their team. Like, he was actually performing really, really well. The Barcelona team that he was leading was doing great, but he was making what I would call smart financial business decisions for a club that at the time that he was in power was the poorest club in the world, because they had over $1 billion in debt. Like, just truly so much debt. And he was doing the best with what he had. He was promoting a lot from within. He was playing a very good system-based soccer, but it wasn't exciting. It wasn't what the Barcelona faithful wanted it to be. They wanted to still think that they were the people of the past, that had a Barcelona team with a front three of Messi, Neymar, and Suarez. And then just from top to bottom, it was all bangers. You had the Iniesta, Busquets, Xabi midfield. You had Pujols and David Luiz in the back of your defense. Just like you had the Barcelona of old, and he wasn't doing that anymore. And they fired him brought in Hansi Flick because Hansi Flick was like, I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. You say you're going to pay me how much money, and all I have to do is not make the fans of Barcelona FC angry? Let's sign Lewandowski. Let's sign Dani Olmo. Let's go crazy. Let's play a system that lets all of our best players just solve the problems on their own. And luckily, they are able to do that. And La Masia keeps producing just generational talents. By the way, Tom Fellows, someone that if we sell some of these players, we actually are probably going to make a move on. Tom Fellows is a good pickup here. And so, getting back to our original point, I do think that the Xabi Alonso situation is one where if you are trying to go in the direction that most people in the world now agree is the correct direction to be moving in, which is giving yourself the time to transition out of a Galacticos era, such as the era that they have found themselves in for a long time, and into what the world is now seeing as a better general a way to approach the game in being system-based and trying to promote with it and being financially viable. The only way you get there is by finding coaches like Xabi Alonso that have a very solid opportunity to show with a proven track record at the top levels of the game, we can hang with anyone if we stick to my systems and my principles. And the dude's resume speaks for itself. The man has so many appearances for Real Madrid. He has so many appearances for the Spanish national team when the Spanish national team was the best national team in the world. This is not a man that has no resume. But even then, what we're seeing is that the players that are supposed to be playing for him are not respecting that. They don't respect... They don't respect his resume. They don't respect his presence in the locker room. They don't respect his decisions. And nothing could typify that more than I think the last two performances that they've had. And do I think that this is something that they would be able to apply across the board? And is this a reason that they should follow through on a lot of the rumors that we're probably all hearing coming out of the camp at the Bernabeu, which is we should fire him? No, I don't think that you should, because what it means is there might have to be a bit of uncomfortable decision making in the near future about personnel changes, and we might see some pretty big moves in either the January window or most likely probably in the summer window out of the Bernabeu from some players that are finding themselves not fitting into the system that we're trying to get there. And this is a thing that we see all across football. We see this kind of anytime you try to have a major shakeup, and usually it results in a couple of years of instability and then a return to really good, high quality play if it's done correctly. I think one of the more long-suffering aspects of that is Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta is a great coach. Don't get me wrong. I'm actually a really big fan of what he does. I'm a really big fan of Arsenal and what they've been able to pull off in the past several years. But they're only able to be the best team in Europe right now, truly going for an invincible season in the part of the Champions League that doesn't matter to be the invincible. In this just league stage, all you want to be is in the top 8. And for Arsenal to have gone out and be like, no, we are only going to concede 1 goal in the entire competition. my cousins had come into town to visit for New Year's, and my cousin sat down on the couch and was like, hey, I'm playing this Football Manager game that I just heard of. I think it looks pretty cool. Have you ever heard of it? And I had never heard of it before. I had never even seen it. That very day, I started watching Lolujo videos, fell in love with the storytelling and the narrative behind his journey from Park to Prem and figuring out non-league to legend and just all of the cool things that could be done in this game. Immediately fell in love. My first save was in FM21 Norwich City, because it was a team that was not necessarily my favorite team. I'm a Leicester supporter. Once again, purely because of the narrative. I think the story of the 2014 into 2015 season is one of the coolest stories in the game of football. It is electric, and it gets me every single time. That being said, that first team for me, Emilio Buendia was one of my favorite players of all time, because he was, when I was trying to learn how the game worked and figure out how to play even and what all the buttons did and didn't know anything, an immediate second-minute goal, assist from Ben Ganadok, both to Diakite. What in the world was that? Woo! Let's go. Come on. You know that was a goal. There you go, ref. There you go. VAR. I will admit, Tyler Adams might have ruined that for us if he was anywhere near. Oh, but he got on sides. Coyote. Thank you, Coyote. Everyone's glazing you because you may be the best right back in the league. At least the best signing at right back, I think, for sure this season. Because Brentford have been doing pretty well in the league, and Coyote has been a non-insignificant part of that. Oh, don't like Shada in behind. Petrovic. Jordy, way to get big. But tonight, Coyote is the one that let Bofade Diakite score that goal, because he kept everyone on sides. But no, Emiliano Buendia, huge part of my Norwich City save. In fact, when he moved from Norwich to Aston Villa, I was like, Aston Villa have gotten an insane deal on this player. And then when I heard that they were going to try and cut him and he had to beg to stay at the beginning of the season, it seemed wrong to me. But, you know, I get it. There's a lot of good people in that team at his position. But for him to win the winner, to score the winner in the 95th minute at Arsenal, to give them, I think, only their second loss this season in the league. Yeah, they lost to Liverpool back when Liverpool was still good at the beginning of the season. And then Aston Villa in what is an absolute revenge match for Unai Emery every time he shows up at the Emirates now. Was electric. Like, those are the kind of stories that we all watch and play this game for. Oh, there we go. Best goalkeeper in the world. The left post. Keeping out Igor Thiago. But yeah, so big news there. We haven't even talked about all of the crazy stuff. I am front of the line on just watching the implosion at Liverpool right now. I think, as a neutral, it's hilarious objectively. Because it was a team that, with nothing other than a managerial change, essentially, from Klopp to Arne Slot. I don't like that Collins just got that goal. Michael Damsgaard into Collins and Nathan Collins. Okay, boys, we need... I want to see a little bit more from you. Because we have definitely not been the better team so far this half. And we can be. Like, what was that? Why are we letting Jordan Henderson pick us apart like that? The man is ancient. Whoa, jeez. Yeah, we need to see something else in the second half, because right now we are looking porous at best. We have had exactly one shot on target, and it was our goal. Vandenberg. Oh, Evan Nielsen. Nice pressure. Kluivert. This is our chance on the counter. Adams found Kluivert again. Kluivert driving into space. Kluivert found Evan Nielsen. Found Adams. Oh! That was an insane shot. That looked actually like it was going to go in. Okay, we need... So none of these are the thing that I want us to say, except for maybe this one. Jimenez. I know you have the ability to make a difference. Yeah, so Liverpool to go from winning the league for the first time other than the 2020 season, which, I mean, everyone can have their opinions on that they want to. I'm not going to police that. And I'm also not going to take it away from them, since I do think that it's still, like, winning the league at any point in time is still an impressive thing to do. But it also just, like, the ability to do it with the team that looked like they were going to do it the year before for Klopp's final season, like, that would have been pure poetic justice. And we still get a lot of just good poetry out of it because he wasn't wrong. Arne Slot was the right man, the man that he picked and hand-selected to take the job himself, to take the exact same team that he left him and just run it back the next year with 0 changes and win it all. Great story. I actually really liked that Liverpool won the league last season. What I like even more is to have them immediately dynamite their own cohesion with some of the most absurd transfers you've ever seen. First with Alexander-Arnold leaving and bringing in Frimpong, which I actually think was the smartest business they did. But then you also bring in Kirkes, which just hasn't been playing as well for you as Andy Robertson has historically off the left. There we go, Justin Kluivert. There we go, there we go. Jeez, Justin Kluivert just dribbled past literally everyone. Picks it up in his own half. Vandenberg gets beat. And then Pinnock doesn't close. Collins left him forever ago. Collins was the first guy that got beat. Let's go Justin Kluivert. Yeah, but to have them just essentially blow up their chemistry, spend, what was it, £500 million on player signings? And admittedly, there was some horrible, horrible tragedies that we cannot overlook in the death of Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota, one of my favorite players for the Portuguese national team and for Liverpool. Just such a workhorse and always delivered exactly what you needed him to do and seemed to be a perfect fit into any side just because he never demanded his starting position, but every time he was given an opportunity, just rose to the occasion, which was electric to see. Jimenez, do we have Truffert on the bench? We don't, so Smith has to come over, and then Jimenez is Freeman. And let's try that. This is an interesting angle behind Kevin Keller. And they looked really good when I actually think that Liverpool, I think the real signing that undid Liverpool was not even with Florian Wirtz. Let's go Tavernier. 3 goals in 2 games for Marcus Tavernier. Goal in his first touch after he gets brought in off the bench. Let's go. Huge ups to Marcus Tavernier. Adam Smith with the assist too. Tavernier may or may not have stolen that goal from Alex Scott because Alex Scott was making the same run. But, you know, a goal's a goal. We've turned it around. The boys are doing what we asked them to at halftime. We can lay down some praise. So happy the shouts are back. Shouts being back is massive for... not necessarily the game. I don't know that it really matters to the game at all. but is at least massive to my own internal mental health. And then Evan Nielsen, let's bring on Unal. I think the thing that really blew up Liverpool's whole situation, though, is bringing in Alexander Isak. Isak is a great striker, don't get me wrong. He falls into the category of strikers, in my mind, that is held specifically by him, and then my other prime example being Harry Kane. In that I have long believed that Harry Kane is the best striker in the world that looks like the worst striker in the world. And hear me out on that, chat. Harry Kane is the kind of guy where you watch him play and it looks like he is never doing anything. It looks like he's not running. It looks like he's not in the play at all. And then when you look back at the end of the season, he has somehow scored like 37 goals. He has more progressive passes than anyone on his team. And he somehow has like 20 assists. And you just cannot remember off the top of your head ever seeing him do any of those things. Like, you can't remember a single one of his goals that he scored except for some just absolute worldies. He just makes it look effortless. And Alexander Isak falls into that same category for me. I think Alexander Isak is one of those people where in his time with Newcastle, in fact, since we're going to have the information here, let's just look it up on... Let's look Alexander Isak. I always forget if he's an Alexander Isak. Yeah, Alexander Isak. Let's look at his career stats at Newcastle. So at Newcastle, across all competitions, in the past 3 years since he joined from Real San Sebastian, where he was lighting it up, and ever since he got let go from Borussia Dortmund, which, can you believe that at this point in Borussia Dortmund history, they had both Isak and Haaland? Like, insanity. In the 3 seasons that he had at Newcastle, he played a total of 86 games and scored a total of 54 goals in the Premier League in 86 games, which is insane. That is such a good goals to games ratio. But if you asked me, having watched all of the highlights for every Newcastle game in all 3 of these years, since I watched the highlights for every Premier League game, and I have since 2017, I cannot tell you more than maybe 3 goals that I remember Alexander Isak ever scoring, or any involvement that he's had in the play at all. And I'll be the first to admit, looking at highlights and only watching highlights, not the best way to go about getting all of your things. I should probably watch full games. It's a thing that I want to do. Don't get me wrong. If we can make this into a career where all I'm doing is sitting here and chatting on stream and playing video games and doing stuff, and it pays me enough to live and also pay for the ability to watch these games, trust me, I would love to, and I will watch all of them. That being said, he falls into the same category for me as he's a number 9 and he's good and he's proven at the Premier League, and he's never been the leading scorer in the Premier League, but he's always been pretty close in the Golden Boot races. But I could not tell you for the life of me more than maybe 3 instances of times where I think that he actually has done anything that I could remember. Which is, you know, not what you want out of your $170 million signing for Liverpool. And he hasn't looked good for Liverpool this season. Neither has Wirtz, but I don't necessarily think that that's as much of Wirtz's problem. I think that might be just the expectation that they had on him and how Wirtz and Salah play together and what they look at. Because essentially what we're seeing that is working as to why Liverpool don't win games right now, and why Liverpool is in just kind of a generational collapse, which has been so fun to watch. it has been really, really interesting, is what we've seen of teams in the Premier League have figured out, and to the point where it's on record from Arne Slot in press conferences that this is why he's losing. They've figured out that the way you beat Liverpool is you sit really back in a low block, you jam the box, and you try to prevent them from being able to beat you on the counter because you are just sitting back and absorbing and absorbing and absorbing. And they don't really have a lot of availability in their system. We will extend another contract to Adam Smith. Don't want to play him as an inside wingback because we just don't play inside wingbacks in our system. Fine, I'll let you be an important player. This is mainly just we want him to retire at the club. Sorry, messages from my mother. She asking me questions about my gingerbread house because we have house cookie day tomorrow, which is a family tradition that we've been doing at least my entire life, and from what I've been led to believe, probably the past 50 years in my family, where for Christmas time, the whole family gets together and we decorate house cookies, what we call them. That's our word for it. You can feel free to use it, but for everyone else, you would probably know them as gingerbread houses. And my lovely mother, is a saint of a woman, makes gingerbread houses for everyone in the family so they all have their own house to decorate. And she wants me to ask some last minute questions about my gingerbread house. But that's an important message. We can't let that one just go by. Yeah, but so when you play this low block against Liverpool, they don't have a way in their current system that is very good at breaking down those low blocks, which is what you want a very good young creative player like Florian Wirtz to do. That's what you want him to be in your squad for, and it's why you spend all the money that Liverpool spent on him, was so that they could have this player that can sit at the top of the box and just ping the short passes off of other players and around to get you into the positions that you need to be in to find success in breaking down low blocks. The problems for that are several, but first and foremost, Florian Wirtz is not really an out-and-out attacking center mid. He's also not really a center mid at all, which necessitates a change in strategy for Liverpool, because Liverpool, for years, has played essentially a 4-3-3 with three mids and then an attacking three, with, most importantly, Salah on the right, who would come in, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold, who would invert to give you, essentially in possession, a three at the back with Robertson, Konate, and Van Dijk, and then a base two of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then insert your other holding midfielder here. Sometimes it's McAllister. A lot of times it was Fabinho. It could be Ouattara Endo. Insert Henderson, insert generational midfield talent here. And then you'd have your two attacking midfielders of another one of your other two actual midfielders, and then you'd have your front three of Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, or Darwin Nunez, and Mo Salah. And this works because none of those players are all vying for the same places. Whereas now, you don't have a wingback that can invert unless we're playing Szoboszlai at right back, which he's done multiple times this season, to actually pretty great attacks. Szoboszlai has been inspirational this season. He's been so good, which has been honestly one of the highlights. It's some of my favorite stuff coming out of the Liverpool news and drama has been like Szoboszlai still going on Twitter and going on X and doing those things and like apologizing to the fans for how horrible the team has been doing and that they keep losing these games, and the entire fan base gathering together and rallying around to tell Szoboszlai specifically, no, we're mad at literally everyone else in the world, but never you. You can do no wrong, Dominik Szoboszlai, which has been really heartwarming and really cool, but they're just admittedly frustrated about how can we spend $500 million or 500 million pounds on all of these players and still lose every game that matters. And it's because you get into this issue where Florian Wirtz, one of my favorite players of all time. In my long-term save that I did in FM24 with Crystal Palace, he was one of the biggest signings I ever made, but one of the best signings I ever made. And the thing that he does so well to help you break these things down is he can play in your central attacking position, but he also really likes to float out right. And you can see that when you watch him play, is that he really favors that right side. And so you'll find him, if you're having him in the same team as Mo Salah, who is a right winger, but loves to come inside and cut in, is that... Oh, we already are getting Kimito Nono. There we go. Kimito Nono, they don't like because he doesn't fit into our current tactical system. Can he not play anything other than... He can't play wing back. So we'll be training him to do that. Okay. Getting back to Liverpool. Let's finish one thought, Sam. Come on. Streamer of the Jankter over here. Finish one thought level impossible. Yeah, so you get this interesting spot where when you're trying to have Wirtz be central but float out to the right into that half space, and you're trying to have Salah come from the right and float in towards the middle, they bump into each other in that area of influence in that same half space between the left-sided center back and the left back, which leads to a really congested area. But then it also gives you the true managerial nightmare that Arne Slot has to be dealing with right now of essentially, we have to play Mo Salah. Like, everyone, I think, in the world believes that that is the truth. If there's any one truth, it's that you play the back-to-back Golden Boot winner, one of the best strikers that Liverpool has seen in a generation. Like, you cannot not play him. So you have to play him. But if you play him, you're going to keep getting beat because the one thing Salah isn't good at is breaking down a low block. He gets stymied by the low block. And so that's a problem. On the other side, on the flip side of this, you have Florian Wirtz, who is now, I think, prior to Alexander Isak, the record signing for the Premier League, and definitely the record signing for Liverpool. They spent so much money. He might even still be. How much did... We just looked up Isak was 169. How much was Florian Wirtz in freedom units? Florian Wirtz was 146. Yeah, he wasn't as much, but at the time he was. So you spend all this money on this player to solve the problem that you have self-identified internally as the problem. We all know it. The problem is doing good, Forfighter. We're talking about why Liverpool is falling apart currently in the Champions League, the Premier League, in everything. And that it lies down to just all of the things that have led to the news this week coming out of the Liverpool camp, where Mo Salah is upset and asking to leave because he's not getting played and he's being slighted by that, which is, understandable. Mo Salah is one of the best players in the world. Yeah, no cohesion, no chemistry in the wrong positions for so many players. That's kind of what we're getting to, is just playing all of these players out of positions as you're trying to fit all of these players into the right team. Salah, you're not going to be able to play him, and now that's tearing apart the dressing room. And then getting back to the original topics that I was making that you would have missed is you have the two biggest signings in the window for sure in Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak. And Isak has, I think, pretty unabashedly been a disaster for Liverpool, only scoring his first goal for the team in the past 2 weeks. And then Wirtz, who they signed specifically to solve the problem that they have, which is the inability to beat the low block, because he's able to pass his way through the low block for your team, isn't being able to do that because they run into now positioning issues of he and Salah are trying to fill a lot of the same physical spaces on the pitch at the same time, which isn't what you want from your team when you're trying to beat down an opposition with a low block. I'm not a Liverpool fan, which is one of those things. So for me, watching this has been really funny. I've been really enjoying, since it looked like it was going to go in such a different direction at the beginning of the season. I love that you're bringing this up, Foo Fighter, because literally what got me on this discussion was talking about the Barcelona discussion between when they had Xavi as their coach and now when they have Hansi Flick, because we were juxtaposing that versus the current problem and situation that we have. Oh, thanks for the follow. In La Liga with Real Madrid and Xavi Alonso, and whether... Oh, yeah, it is a huge difference. It is a huge difference, but it goes back to essentially what are you looking for from your manager and your time going forward? Are you looking for a system-style manager, which is like your Xavi or your Xavi Alonso like we now have at Real Madrid? Or are you looking for a manager that can deal with all the personalities that go into trying to be a Galactico team? Like Carlo Ancelotti was historically, and what Hansi Flick is now doing at Barca, where instead of trying to take players that don't necessarily fit as the pieces you need in your system, which is what they were doing under Xavi, Hansi Flick has been much more of a, no, we've got some of the best players in the world. And Barca, trust me, man, also a Barca fan here. I went to Barcelona about a decade ago, and I still have my Barcelona Neymar jersey in my rotation from the summer when they signed Neymar. Huge Barca fan. And La Masia is just giving them some of the best players in the world for free. And Hansi Flick is doing a really good job of getting out of the way of his players, letting his players just do their jobs and fix a lot of their problems on their own, instead of trying to do what we're seeing at Liverpool with Arne Slot, of just trying to fit all of these players into a system that they might not necessarily gel with, or what we're seeing going to the La Liga thing of just the implosion that's happening. Even in the past week, we've seen everyone go from Xavi Alonso is going to be agreed. Liverpool are much more direct, which is why they're not doing super well when everyone has figured them out this season of going into the low block and absorbing all of their direct pressure, because you can't counterattack as effectively like Liverpool wants to in their more direct route one play if instead of trying to counter them and win the high press, you just send everyone back. You've got 8 or 9 guys in the box and just absorb every point of pressure ever, eventually win the ball back and ping it over the top and try to make Konate and Van Dijk win a foot race against whoever your fastest outlet player is. And even the Arne Slot, the manager, has gone on press conferences and said exactly that. Of just like, yeah, we keep losing because everyone's figured this out and we aren't putting in the performances that we need to overcome that. I agree, Scouting Report. This would be an excellent signing. I don't know why you think we have $124 million to spend on Tomas Araujo. But, whatever. Great recommendation. Glad we had this chat. But no, Foo Fighter, you and I are seeing the same things. As a neutral, it's been really funny to watch, and that's been my point that we've been making here. Is I can feel for Arne Slot because he's riding the high of he walked into the club as like the self-selected next savior of Liverpool. Thanks, man. I'm glad that you came for the intrigue of Bournemouth and stayed for what I will say between us is objectively the correct understanding of why Liverpool is falling apart. Yeah, last year was completely different. And the thing that is like it's the sabotage of your own success. And I actually am a really big fan of Liverpool winning the league last year. Because it felt like there was such a good narrative going into that win from the season before, getting so close to winning the league with Jurgen Klopp in his final year. Yeah, exactly. Every team gets their bad year or phase. And I think that's kind of... Foo Fighter, you are a man of true culture and class. I'm gendering you, and I shouldn't be. You are a person of true class. Because these are the exact points I made, too. Of like, especially in these transition points where you're seeing with Alonso right now as we're trying to transition Real Madrid out of a Galactico into a tactical system, or in another example, you can see in the long-term play of getting out of the Unai Emery era of Arsenal into the current version of Arsenal that's taken several years to get there under Mikel Arteta, and them figuring out what their system is and bringing in the right players and recruiting to that system and developing to that system. Teams need to go through these cycles of they get to be good, they fall apart for a little bit because they just have to, whether it's because of financial problems or any one person or individual thinking they're bigger than the team, or even the entire team thinking that, and then it all has to fall apart and rebuild itself. And we're just seeing that a lot now. It's a more recent thing. Oh yeah. Barcelona is a really good case study for this too, especially with just like, they're in a much better place, and I think we can all agree this is true, than what they were, I want to say 23-24 season, when they were like £1 billion in debt. And they've really done a lot of work to come back from that, throwing all the financial levers and getting things all put together. Barca's looking really good now. Barca's actually really fun to watch now too. As a if I'm going to root for any La Liga team, it's going to be Barcelona. So you definitely get that. And the thing is every team has to do that. Yeah, early 2020s was a real pain. And there was a lot of questionable decisions that, honestly, as a Barca fan, hopefully you can also resonate with me on, of like, to be in the position they were in early 2020s and make some of the decisions that they made, specifically around bringing in Lewandowski from Bayern, even though he's been electric, seemed like just a weird decision that they didn't need to make, and made because they were trying to hold on to the last little gasp of who they used to be. Or even the more egregious one to me was the signing of Dani Olmo. Don't get me wrong, I love Dani Olmo. Lewandowski was a goldmine, and he has turned out to be, I think, a good signing. But in the moment, I was king of the doubters, because I was just like, how are we, even if they got him on, I think they signed him on a free. Like, I don't think they had to pay Bayern literally anything for Lewandowski, and he just was scoring for fun. But even then, you have to find the money to pay Lewandowski And to pay Lewandowski, they had to ask like Frank de Jong to take a pay cut. They had to cut back on a whole bunch of other players' salaries to afford him. Don't get me wrong, he was amazing and continues to be amazing coming off the bench for them. But I was skeptical. Dani Olmo's the bigger one for me. He was like 40? Okay. Even then, it was still a signing that happened at a time where all the news coming out of Barcelona was that Barcelona has negative $1 billion money. And so to be spending any money was a choice that I was taking with a grain of salt. I will admit, though, he has turned out to be a really good signing for them. But it is still just... I agree with your earlier take, though, of... I do think Barca right now... Consistency and composure definitely need to come. Composure, I think, is a hard thing to find. And a lot of that comes down to just... Oh, yeah, 100%, 100%. I do think that means the narrative coming out of Barca, too, of just everyone being a family and everyone wanting to play is huge, because the entire city and the team at its core came together to become the team they are now. And the consistency and composure, I agree with you. And the reason that they don't have that is the way that they could do that is even before Flick got there, what Xavi started doing was playing so many more of the La Masia graduates. Oh, yeah. Araujo, his red card a couple of weeks ago when he left his brain in Uruguay in that 5-1 loss to the US was a freakish occurrence. It has been wild, but it's just the bits like that of like Barcelona is an incredibly young team right now. I like what Flick is doing. I am for as far as Barca is concerned, and I said this early in the stream, and I will happily say it now that we have someone here to have this conversation with. I'm a Xavi apologist. I think Xavi did a really good amount of work to get Barcelona to a position where Hansi Flick could come in and be as successful as he is being right now. And we wouldn't have gotten there without Xavi putting it in the groundwork, trying to make it less Galactico, way more technical, promoting a whole bunch of youth players, getting them gelling together as a team. Like, he was doing a lot of really good groundwork stuff that just wasn't popular. But he was still very successful. Like, they still were winning a lot. It just wasn't what Barca fans wanted to be watching, which is why he left. And Hansi Flick is doing a lot better in that regard. But the groundwork that we got there, since a lot of the core pieces of the Barca team are those youth candidates that were promoted under Xavi. Your Pedris, your Gavis, your Alejandro Baldes, and so you look down the entire spine of that team, and that's why Barca has the composure problems and the mentality problems and the consistency problems is... Agreed. I agree 100% with that, Foo Fighter. Xavi is one of those people like Xavi Alonso or like Iniesta or the just generational talents as players that keep getting these high-profile managerial jobs. Other great examples for this are the Frank Lampards and the Steven Gerrards, where it's like, yeah, they were absolutely the best players in the world in their prime at their positions. And then you give them a coaching job at the highest level clubs in the world, the clubs that they played for in their prime. And they're just not quite ready for that. Like, it's just not quite there yet. And they'll do the best that they can with the limited expertise that they are able to afford. But inevitably, you have to find the person that knows what they're doing and wasn't just a really good player with some solid understanding of the game and the ideas, but has also been a coach and done the coaching. And And that's what I think what Flick really has brought to Barcelona is that Flick gets it. Flick has been a coach at the top levels of the game for decades. And so he just has the pedigree and has the experience, where Xavi was doing the best with what he had. But I think one of my favorite takes I ever heard during the Xavi era was in an episode of the TiVo Football podcast. I think it was either, or it might have just even been a comment that someone made on Twitter, but it was hilarious to me. Someone said, based off of the performances they were at, we should expect for the next Barcelona game that they should play this formation because Xavi is now on chapter 5 of the book Inverting the Pyramid. And if he has read this chapter, he's now going to redesign his entire system to now play this way because he has reached chapter 5. And it was just, that was kind of the greatest synopsis of what was going on, is that Xavi was just learning on the job and taking in all of the experience that he could, but was out of his depth. And I think we all saw that. But to my point and to your point, he did lay down a lot of really good groundwork in his time there that now we're seeing as Barca fans the benefit and results of. And that's not to go against a lot of just truly excellent individual effort and individual play that has been coming out of Camp Nou. Dembele was really, really good. And then I think he moved. Now I have to look at Barca players again because... Oh, yeah, exactly. That was the thing, too. It's like, that's the reason that Barcelona could come back at all from the position they were in is La Masia. And and a lot of this comes down to my own personal philosophies on how I would run these things. That's why I play games like Football Manager. That's why anyone plays games like Football Manager, is where people that love this sport and love the game ignore that I can't spell. I am very, very bad at spelling. But for me, I very much come down to I don't necessarily go in as deep about the technical and the tactical side of the game, as much as I really believe in the player management, the narrative behind it all, and then what I think the real strength of Barcelona is, which is the fact that they have just the best academy in the world. And so when you get in the position that Barcelona was in the financial crisis, you're playing with house money. Like, that's the part about the Olmos and the Lewandowskis and all these things, even if they, in retrospect, look really good, is that what made no sense to me is like, okay, but why are we signing these players when we could just look at, for instance, anyone on this list of U19 players at Barcelona, anyone from these, if I were to have been in Xavi's position in the early 2020s, trying to lead a club back from the brink of financial ruin, I would have done a lot of what he did, which was just, I'm going to start looking at all of these players and be like, okay, who do we think is going to make the biggest impact? And I could bring them in and they could just do that, because these are players that we don't have to pay any money up front to sign them. They already play for us. And then, especially if you're bringing in people that are just 18 or even younger than 18, since like we had players that were playing for Barcelona at younger than 18, you don't even have to pay them a ton of money. You can pay them next to nothing. And these are better than, admittedly, a lot of lower table La Liga sides. Let's be honest. And so, like, La Masia is just a cheat code. But, I mean, once again, that's my philosophy on it. It's what I try to do with FM. It's what we will be doing in more long-term things. This save that you're watching right now, Foo Fighter, and I'm glad to hear you're another FM head. This one is just still carrying over my beta save because we're still trying to learn at it. Yeah, no, exactly. Cheeto LB could be great. And like, to be fair, a lot of it comes down to, especially if we get into the FM side of things, which like we can also continue having that conversation, is that as much as there's the lists that show you all of the Wonder Kids and all of the things there at that FM Scout or whatever you could do, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, if you're looking at, let's go to one where I actually have all of the numbers in our own squad. You're just looking for numbers and how they interact with the match engine and what you're trying to do and doing stuff like that to show that off. And that's the part of this that I actually really, really like. This is what I bring to FM, and what I really enjoy is I'm trying to look for, not necessarily in a Moneyball sense, although I have done that in the past. We're just trying to get a feel for the game, for me, because I play this about once a week on stream, and other than that, I just fantasize about FM and what I would want to do and look into numbers. And you try to find the key things that matter and look into that. And it's really fun when those realize into real life. So I like to see that Cheeto's doing really well for you. For me, the one that's been really popping off is like Ben Doak has been a revelation on our Bournemouth save. He is our leading scorer. Right now, he has broken his streak, but for a while he was on a 7-game streak, scoring every single game. And he has just been an absolute nightmare for opposition to the Premier League. But you look at him and you look at these statistics, and like the parts that are really mattering and why he's been able to be as productive for us as we wanted him to be is just high pace, high acceleration, good other tertiary physicals off of there. 17 dribbling has been really key since I've been playing him off of the wings and I'm playing inverted wingers. And so him being able to pick up the ball in these wide spaces and bring it in and beat his man repeatedly has been really, really good for us. Flair has been really helpful to go along with that dribbling. And so the fact that he only has 11 finishing hasn't really mattered as much, because it's more about the fact that he's just been able to get into the right places or pick up the ball and bring it to the right places and beat his man and get there. And then usually he's finishing on either a one-on-one scenario or just an open, empty net. And it's those little things there. And everyone's save is going to be different, so you take what you get with a grain of salt from anyone. I'm glad that Cheeto Obi is doing very, very well for you. Yeah, finishing at 11 won't affect it. Finishing at 11 does still, you would want it higher than that, but it doesn't really affect a ton of things. So yeah, Cheeto Obi, I look at this, so here, this is, you tell me what he looks like in your save, but if I'm looking at him for the first time, which I am here, and I'm trying to evaluate him, like, if I want him to play my striker role in my tactic, or in any tactic, the kind of list of what I'm looking for here is in order. I'm going to look at pace and acceleration. And I really miss in 26 a lot of the things. Yeah, no, Ben Doak just looks so good, doesn't he? Like, 11 finishing aside, we'd love to get that higher. My theory for what I would like for a Premier League on a lot of these benchmarks that we're talking about is I'm looking for good Premier League player, 14 to 18, essentially, is the range you're looking at. And then, like, elite player, best in the world, is going to have, like, an 18 to 20 in any attribute, whatever it is. So if I were going to be evaluating Cheeto Obi here, looking at him, I think he's pretty good, because we look at our pace and acceleration. 13 decisions is really, really good. That would be huge. Since eight decisions is something that I'm looking at, but it's not one of the things that I am the most impressed there. But physically, I agree with you. This guy's insane. We're already at jumping reach and pace, which are two of the three most important things that I look for first off the bat to be in our 14 to 18 benchmark. And 13 and acceleration is our other one, and we're only one out of the benchmark there. And he's 18, he's going to get better. All of these are going to get better. So already we're off to a great start. Next thing I look at is finishing for a striker. 13 finishing, pretty good. Heading is also what I look at. 12, we're not far off of that 14. Then I look at actually anticipation, which I don't have fully scouted information here because I haven't been scouting Cheeto Obi, although after this I definitely should be. Where 12 to 16, that's a 50% chance that he rolls in that 14 and above area, so that's really good. We're also looking at off the ball, which is already at 14. And then I look at composure and concentration, which are, of the things we've looked at, the two lowest he's got, and that's a 13 and then either a 9 to 12. Based off of my read of I've played, we're getting to the end of the first half of the season here on this save, and then off of stream, I've done like 6 or 7 saves through all of the leagues of... Yeah, your Cheeto Obi with 15 finishing, 16 first touch, anticipation, 15 off ball, 13 decisions. Yeah, your Cheeto Obi is a cheat code. All the things I looked at, I did a whole bunch of research. I went on vacation at the end of November and did a 5-year save just tracking stats and growth from Series C all the way through European competition in Italy. Just so I could get more familiar with the game and identify those points that I wanted to be looking at that we've been going through here. And going by the numbers that I came from that, yeah, Cheeto Obi, I don't know who that other streamer was that was looking at him, but I would be the first one to agree with you of like, no, this guy looks incredibly good at 18, and I don't know how many seasons ahead you are right now to have gotten him to those numbers, but I can easily see him growing to those numbers and just being a world beater. Like, that's an amazing thing. Jaden Dans. I'll look at Jaden Dans. Bring him over from Liverpool. Channel forward's also a really good role right now. Yeah, 3 seasons? Okay. Yeah, 3 seasons, I would believe that. Jaden Dans, similar stuff here. Like, 15 determinations, also huge. That's really big. Plays a big role in him getting there. Work rate is also one that I really highly value right now. But yeah, no, this is another just... He's not as good at jumping and heading as... we would like him to be. But once again, 19, he can grow into those. Yeah, I think you've done a really good job at picking young English talent and developing them. Cheeto Obi and Jaden Dans, definitely both really good pickups. Yeah, 2 strike. I would hope you would be. Honestly, Foo Fighter, if you had both of these players and weren't playing a 2-striker system, I would have some questions. You'd have to have a really good reason. Or you'd have to be just like an absolute next level squad rotator. Speaking of, that's what we're working on right now on our match, is that I need to rotate this squad. Sunderland manager, I get it. That makes a lot of sense. Sunderland have also been... You have Batrikov? Okay, I'll have to look at Batrikov after, because I do want to get this game started. But Sunderland is another project that I think would be really interesting. Like I said, this was my beta save, and so I didn't want to necessarily jump in with Sunderland, because I wanted to play not necessarily the best teams in the world, but I wanted to play a team that I think, in my opinion, even in real life, Bournemouth has a lot of potential to be really good. And I think we saw that at the beginning of the season, and now they're returning more to a where we'd expect them to be form-wise in 13th. But when I wanted to be playing in the beta, I wanted to be able to have the opportunity to play at the highest level and figure out what it was and overperform if we needed to, but not necessarily play on the cheat code of like, I'm going to be Liverpool and have infinite money, or I'm going to be Man City and nothing has ever mattered less. But Sunderland's another one that I think is really intriguing. just because Sunderland, I think, has a really good team, and I'm really liking how they're performing in the league right now. Because they've really just decided to show up and ruin everyone's party, and I'm so here for it. The fact that I think if you had asked any single person in Sunderland after they got relegated to League One, if in their first time getting back to the Premier League, they would be 9th in the table at the beginning of December and essentially guaranteed that they were staying in the Premier League, everyone would have looked at you like you were crazy. And so it's been really cool. That's an insane deal, Foo Fighter. I mean, getting $30 million for 33-year-old Granit Xhaka is, I think, crime number one in that sentence. And then being able to somehow get Crystal Palace to sell Wharton to you from Crystal Palace to Sunderland for only $50 million is, I feel, one of the heists of the century. That's insane. Also, that Wharton would want to go to Sunderland from Crystal Palace. That's exactly my point. See, I'm glad you and I, my friend, are of a wavelength. That is exactly what my thoughts on Sunderland are too. They're doing wonders, and I can totally see it why. It comes back to, not to get into the, like, 4-4-2, you have to play this way. See, that does get really lucky. I have a little bit of a soft spot for Crystal Palace. Towards the end of FM24, I did an attempt at the Sir Alex Ferguson challenge, and I, by random draw for doing that challenge, got Crystal Palace. So in FM24, I did like 20 seasons of Crystal Palace. And it was a lot of fun. So I have a little soft spot. But them getting relegated does make sense as to why you were even to get that deal on Wharton. But yeah, Sunderland to me has just insane team cohesion, which is really good. They're feeling like they're all playing not only for themselves, but also for each other and for the team. And they're all pulling in the same direction, which is really, really cool to watch. And then it gets to a point where once again, this is a point that I think was expressed definitely more funny in the TiVo Football podcast. And I am going to say the same point, but in my own words. They have done the thing in recruitment where they have got players most exemplified by Granit Xhaka, but kind of every single player on that team from when I watch them gives me the feeling of they will, for the full 90 minutes they are out there, give you everything they have, and they will run through brick walls for that team. Which is just not a thing that you see players necessarily wanting to do almost anywhere anymore, but especially in a lot of sides in the Premier League. Oh, Alex Scott is just putting on a clinic. Ooh, bad finish. But yeah, and so that's been my take on Sunderland, is that Sunderland feels like they're winning a lot of these games because it's all 11 players all working for the same goal, and they are all willing to die on the pitch for their teammates and for their club, which is just kind of what you need. Same. I think they spent really well with the money they had, and the players they picked up were great. Oh my goodness. Insane from Tyler Adams. That was so good. That was such a good goal. Oh. Yeah, no, they invested really well, I think, with some good young players and bringing a lot of players in for the good money they got of selling Joe Bellingham, I think was really good for me. How much do I want for Adams? Man, I have gotten multiple of the in-game things that have predicted how much people will be willing to pay me for Tyler Adams. And the media in FM is telling me that I should be expecting offers of 75 million, and I won't get out of bed for less than 75 at this point. I will say, you might have blessed us in that Adams goal was unhinged, and I have never seen him do that before. But he can. And if he wants to do that again, we'll take it. Oh, love winning the second ball. I like the effort there, Clivert. No, we're looking forward to this January window, because I'm not really in a mood to get rid of any of these players that I have. They're all doing really well, and I like how they're performing. We had a rough spot for Antoine Semenyo, while being really good in real life right now, has not been super great on my save. To be fair, we've been unfairly comparing him to Ben Gannon-Doak, who has been absolutely unplayable in this save. He's just been playing out of his mind. But right now, I am in no position where I need to sell anybody, but we've gotten a lot of offers, like, rumored for the 65 to 70 million for Adams. Several teams have been rumored to want to go in for Evan Nielsen, who I think has scored 4 goals for us all season. Yeah, no. We're doing pretty good. The Cook to Adams connection, killing it. A lot of shots on target so far. But yeah, that's going to be the premise. The only thing that we've done so far transfer-wise on this team to kind of fit what we wanted is we sold the backup right back on our team at the beginning of the season for, I think, 20 million. And we turned that into Alex Freeman from Inter Miami. Who has been a really good backup right back for us. Ooh. Don't like the own goal from Boffa Diakite. We signed another backup center back at the beginning of the year, because at the beginning of the year, Boffa Diakite was injured for us and was out for several months. I'll look into those. Nadai, I am really high on. If we're talking about the same Nadai, are you talking about the Nadai that plays for Everton? Because Nadai is a man that I am a huge fan of. I think that, speaking of teams that I think have been performing really well and I've been really interested in this year, Everton's been another one of those where watching Everton play this year has been kind of weird. The goalkeeper. Okay. I'll look into him. That is one of the things that we do. Like, we have Jordi Petrovic, which, I mean, I can understand why Chelsea moved on from him, but he is pretty good for us right now. But past... I can't blame you there, Foo Fighter. I think everyone with a brain and a heart full of joy wants to die from Everton. As long as you have even a fraction of whimsy in your soul. He just plays such a beautiful game, which has been kind of the interesting thing as a neutral watching Everton this year. Is like Everton has gone from being just kind of one of those teams that everyone's just going to laugh at to like genuinely really entertaining to watch this season, which has been really interesting. I've really enjoyed that. It's also been fun to watch the reascension of Jack Grealish. Gannon-Doak. I think we want to bring on Brooks. And then Scott. We will swap for Adley. But yeah, I will look into those for sure. Exactly my point. Once again, just me and you, Foo Fighter, in perfect agreement. it looks like this season Grealish is playing like prime Aston Villa Grealish again, because he's been given the opportunity to just go out there, and his manager has just said, do whatever you want. It's a miracle that you're here. We will just get out of your way. Go for it. And when you let Grealish be that player, there's almost no better player in the world. And for the past several years on that Man City team, he has just been a cog in Pep Guardiola's machine that takes world-class players, puts them into a system, and then churns out trophies. Which, like, you can't complain with results, but it has definitely been way less fun to watch Jack Grealish in particular in that system. Ryan Christie for Adams. Because Adams, even though he scored an amazing goal earlier this game, is now falling apart. Oh, Evan Nilsson, how do you miss that? But yeah, and I think what they got going on at Everton this season is that they've got Jack Grealish playing in a free role position, having all the flow in the world, and then just a really good structure built around him with Najai and Beto and I think it's Decore that I really like there. It's just the other one that's really big is like, so I am a really big Leicester City fan. Like, of all the teams I support, that is the one I support the most. And so watching the revelation that has been Kieran Dewsbury Hall for Everton this season has honestly saddened me because he's not at Leicester anymore. But also, you like seeing the guys from your club that you support succeed, and it's been really fun to watch him succeed. Well, we would have liked to have won there, but getting the draw from Chelsea is really all we can ever ask for when we are Bournemouth, and we have spent so much less money than them. Plus, it keeps us 4 points ahead of them on the table. Love that. Also, we got to see the absolute beauty and majesty that was that Adams goal. Oh, jeez. Adams, take a bow. Superb in front of goal. Okay. Try and run through these real quick. Do the old-fashioned scouting. It might not show up because I'm either bad at spelling, but also I don't have the full database loaded because I didn't want to go too ham with my beta save. I'm going to assume that Owen was Owen Beck, the Derby player. Derby County. The thing is like, they're saying this is a last resort, but like, I don't hate what I'm seeing for a wingback. Like, work rate's pretty good. You got good natural fitness, good acceleration and pace. I mean, I get that they're 23. So like, that's a part of it for sure. But I don't hate this. Seems pretty good. Noah Siddiqui. I mean, Siddiqui's just also already been really good in real life right now. I believe it. Like I said, he looks really good. Like, Owen Beck didn't look bad. To the point where I was doubting why they said he was a D. Like, I think my scouts on my game definitely have that wrong. To be fair, they're comparing against my team where like my left backs are Trufer and Jimenez, who are both really good. But yeah, no, Siddiqui. If Siddiqui grows at all from this, he's world class, and he's already great here. So like, pace and acceleration are good. I like a strong center mid. He's got good jumping reach. Not ideal jumping reach, but still good. He's really good teamwork and work rate, which we like. Anticipation, composure, and concentration are both good. 13 passing's already great. 14 positioning. Getting an average playing, like an average match rating of 7 in 3 seasons of the Prem is absolutely unhinged, Foo Fighter. That's great. I do eventually need more left backs, so Owen Becks might be the move in the summer window for sure. Good Rex. Sawa? Shiveo Sawa? I'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna say, right now, I have been finding success playing my left backs as wing backs out of possession, and then left backs in possession. I have no information on Chievo Saya because I am apparently not scouting Zurich. But we can throw a scout. And then we're looking at Saba Karabashvili. Oh, is this... I think I've heard of this. Is this the Kazakhstani wonder kid? That's just like absolutely unhinged how good he is? Yeah, Georgian. That does make it even crazier. Pull him straight from the Georgian league. From Dinamo Tbilisi. I mean, 6 foot. I think if I were to play Saba as a center back, I would have to play him as a center back in like a back 3, which we're not playing a back 3 currently, but I have played back 3s and I actually really like them in this patch engine. A lot of the testing that I was doing in my off-stream Italy saves to get all my data together for this were primarily in back 3 systems, because admittedly I started that save in Serie C and then won back-to-back promotions up to Serie A and was definitely not supposed to be there anymore. So we needed all of the players in the back that we could get. Now, that's just amazing. Those are great numbers. Yeah, passing vision, work rate, determination, aggression, pace, and stamina 15 to 17 is something that, like, dreams are made of. Did you sign him from the Georgian league? Is that why you got him for 5? Because I can't believe that anyone else would let him go for that little. You have to have signed him straight from Dynamo Tbilisi. Yeah, that checks out. That I can now see why that is the case. That makes sense. Well, unfortunately, I don't know how much of that we're going to be able to move on in our current, because I have, like, no money in the transfer budget. Yeah, we are at straight 0. We're already over on the wage budget. But these are good things to know. Oh, can Petrovich speak English now? Great. It's those parts of the game that... let's go. Look at you being a great financial manager, Foo Fighter. Fantastic. That was the fun part of the off-stream save that I was doing. So I did Provercelli in the third tier of Italy. Oh, Man United have now declared interest in Kluivert. How much are you willing to pay me for Kluivert, Man United? 81 million? I could see selling Justin Kluivert for $81 million. I could do a lot with $81 million. But so I was pro Vercelli, and we started with obviously zero money. Not being able to pursue him. Oh, so is that a... Say, you would be mad. I wouldn't have said that you couldn't go to Liverpool, Antoine Semenyo. I'm not the one standing in your way. The higher-ups, they're standing in both of our way. I promise I'll make it right. I also don't want Hill necessarily to leave. But also 25 million for James Hill and getting Talby is not bad. Getting Saba would also be great. Okay, so we are gonna do one thing real quick, just real quick, and that is figure out why in the world my club didn't sell Antoine Semenyo. Does someone have transfer responsibilities that I don't know of? No, I am the one that is in control. Negotiating player sales, for some reason, Thiago Pinto is in charge of. No, you don't get to be in charge of that, Thiago Pinto. What are we doing here? Because now he's mad at me. And admittedly, he is one of our best players, but like, we're looking at turnout here. Ben Ganondok plays his same position and has 11 goals and 3 assists, and Antoine Semenyo has 5 goals and 7 assists. So, like... And he was gonna be, like, a whole bunch of money. Now I have to talk to him. I'm so sorry, Semenyo. I understand your goals. I'll make this promise. But also, if they make another, like, huge offer, I don't have any problem getting rid of Semenyo. Like, that seems fine to me. Because Semenyo turns into... We sell him for 80 to 100 million, and then we turn that into 5 to 10 cheap young players that set us up better for the long run. Like, in my opinion, a lot of playing Football Manager is, like most things in life, a game of tempo. In the card gaming sense of essentially you need to know when you have the tempo and when you need to change from one position to another. We are in the position where we are still a selling club. Even though with my management right now at Bournemouth, we are massively overperforming. We now have $41 million out of thin air. Okay. Great to know. Oh, 100%. Like, and it's also knowing when you are at which position and when to make that swap, in my opinion, Foo Fighter. If it's like, we are still very much into selling. We are trying to buy youngsters or even experienced players really cheap, that we can play here and then we can sell for a major profit until we can become established in Champions League and things like that. And then once we have won the league at least once, we can then start looking at being someone that's going to be spending a lot of money. Yeah, and that's what you should do. Is like selling Brabi to get Chido Obi, Dans, and some others is huge. Like that's what we did. So far in this save, what I have done in transfer activity is we have transfer history. There it is. We have sold Willian Araujo to Brighton for 22 million, who was our backup right back and is admittedly very good. But we sold him and we have brought in Adama Gallo, who has been pretty good for us. We ended up actually not playing him as much because we have been playing James Hill ahead of him, but now we're selling James Hill. But we signed that because we started the season with Bofidi Diakite getting injured, and so we needed just center backs at the club. We signed Amir Richardson, who has been really good for us from Fiorentina, mainly because the one thing I noticed at Bournemouth when I got here is that no one was taller than 6 feet tall, and Amir Richardson is 6'5" and has 17 jumping reach. So, like, he's fine at all the other stuff that needs to be at to be a defensive midfielder as well. So, like, that's a plus. But also, he's massive. And then we brought in Alex Freeman. And then we also have arranged coming in another backup right back. But it's like, I agree with you. That's the only thing you can be doing is at our position of the clubs we are at is be willing to let anyone go. Like, no one is sacred. If you get a big offer that comes in for him, you have to accept that offer. And then you turn, this 15 million is going to turn into 3 players. And still keep us healthy. And this, if we had gotten the 80 million or whatever for Semenyo, that turns into like 20 players. And we're not really missing out because already we have Ben Gannon Doak, who's developed to such a point where if we lose Semenyo, we just plug Gannon Doak right in. And there's really not a change in play. What are our issues here? Our issues are Semenyo, James Hill, who wants to join Man United. We get that. And Mean Adley, who wants to play more games, which we're playing him more, so that's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Foo Fighter. I'm not opposed to offering out Semenyo. I don't think we're going to transfer list Semenyo because that would be ridiculous. Because, like I said earlier, I'm in a position where I don't feel like I need to sell anybody right now. But if someone comes in like Liverpool had for Semenyo, with just an offer that's too good to turn down, we'll take it, of course. Yeah, since like 76, I don't know how I feel about. I haven't been interacting with the agents as much this one, mainly just because I have that was not helpful. Mainly just because what I've seen with offering that and talking to the agents previously as I've been looking at this is just with the state that the game has been in up until this point. It's, you know, kind of up in the air if it's actually working or not. Whereas my own valuation of him is like, I think we could get probably closer to 80 million for him, but I have no problem offering out unspecified and seeing what response is, and then gauging off of interest, because I'm sure there's a million people interested in him. It's Antoine Semenyo. Adam Smith, if you want to go to Al Ittifaq, I will not stand in your way. You've been a brilliant servant of the club. We love having you. I know I did just offer you a new contract, but also, if we lose you, it won't be the end of the world. We didn't... Oh, Kieran Smith, that's a new under-18 sports scientist who have pump faked me. I thought that was Adam Smith. Where did that goalkeeper Ndiaye play for, Foo Fighter? Because, like, I couldn't find him when I was searching him. But also, like, this is the kind of caliber of backup goalkeeper we're looking at right now at my team. And so it is a position that we have identified. Norway as in he's Norwegian and plays in Norway, or just plays on a team in Norway? Mamor? I might get more luck typing in Mamor. Yeah, there you go. It just didn't like me typing in Ndiaye for some reason. I mean, I obviously don't have most of the information here, but looking at aerial reach, jumping reach, yeah, there's a lot of really good things here. I'm really liking even the low end of a lot of these. Looks great. We will add him to this shortlist. Okay. Got this Arsenal match now. Love a brace from our U21s. War of the Roses this week. Okay. Antoine Semenyo with an 8.0 for Ghana. That's going to be good for the trying to sell Semenyo category of today. If he puts up good play in the Africa Cup of Nations, that's big for us. Ooh, we might get more money from Dominic Solanke. Love that. Love that. Anything for more money. Ooh, and we got Semenyo offers to look at. Okay. Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll just change our thing away from cautious before we actually begin playing. Player of the week, Dejan Kulusevski, eh? Kobe Moto, one of our youth players, and he wants to go to Bournemouth. Currently out at Weymouth. The only thing he's got going for him is he is fast. And he could maybe potentially beat championships. I am fine with letting Moto go. You can go with my blessing, Kobe Moto. Now, the Semenyo offers. We've got Man City coming in with 60 million. Man United with 30, and Paris Saint-Germain with 35.5. So a little undervalued, I'd say. And they will only pay me 15 million now and 45 million in installments. He doesn't want to go to City. He would rather stay with us or go to Paris Saint-Germain. I would only consider this if we got closer to like these kind of numbers. Man City. Which they will take. Man United, you aren't willing to negotiate at all. So we'll just reject that. And Paris Saint-Germain, will you come to the negotiating table? You will not. And we will reject that offer. And now we'll go to Antoine Semenyo and we'll just offer him for $1 billion. Okay. So, transfer. Offer via transfer room. No. Go 85. Okay. If we get 85 million for Antoine Semenyo, that would be huge. Now, only goal of this match is to not lose at home versus Arsenal, who have been absolutely on fire this entire season. They have now lost twice, which is better than when we started today, and they had only lost once. Okay, so we are going to go to second 11. We're going to go Brooks for Adley. Gannon Doak for Brooks. The current offer we got for Semenyo from Man City, which he will probably turn down because Antoine Semenyo has said he doesn't want to go to Man City, is 50 million now and an additional 30 million in installments paid out in June. So it would be 80 million total. So then we've done is we just offered him out for we've just offered him out for 85 million. 80 million is crazy money, which is why I'm like, yeah. To be fair, their original offer was 60 million, 15 million right now, 45 in June, which was the best offer we got, because Man United came in at 30 million and Paris Saint-Germain came in at 35 and a half, and were not willing to negotiate, which is less than ideal. Adam Smith isn't injured, so he can come in on the bench, because we want someone on the bench that can do that. Jordi Petrovic has to play instead of Dennis, because Dennis is hurt. He's only hurt until tomorrow, though, so we can finally put him back on the bench. And then Freeman and Nagalo are both hurt, so Nagalo will have Hill move over, and then Nagalo can be replaced by Milosevic, unless Milosevic already played. Oh, Milosevic also injured. Groin strain. Okay, so Nagalo can just be replaced by Senesi. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like I never know what to do with a ton of money. So that's when we going back to the discussion that I was having earlier, Foo Fighters, about learning tempo changes and when you need to change. I don't know what your results are in the league now, but once I've gotten to the $160 million to spend mark, essentially the position you are in, that's what I would call a tempo shift. Of you've gone from, you don't necessarily have to be the selling club anymore. You still probably want to be some amount of selling, because you need to be. That's just the reality of the situation. You don't have the staying power to fight some people off from buying your best players. But you can look at it in a couple of ways of like either that 160 million turns into I buy 16 $10 million players that are going to be squad players or young players that I will eventually sell for $1 million. That's a weird group of top four that's you, Spurs, and Southampton. That's wild to read. Spurs, I can see getting there, but the fact that US, Sunderland, and Southampton have both made it into the top four is crazy. But you either do that or you become the next stage, which is you're essentially solidifying yourself as top of the table. So you're trying to make the jump. Hey, my name is Sam Smith. You don't have to sell me on S being the GOAT. I get it. I'm on board. S teams also dope. I'm here for this. I can buy into this conspiracy. No questions asked. But you could also now, with your 160, try to solidify your position as for always in the top four, and you just find the one absolutely insane signing, or maybe the 2 to 3 like $40 to $50 million players that are going to be like, hey, if we pick these guys up now, yeah, there might not be a ton of wiggle room on the sale side on the back end of this, but these are the people that now give us the squad depth to be perennial Champions League players, and eventually, like, these are the purchases you're making now at season 4 with $160 million to spend are the players you're trying to buy, so that when you start winning Champions League after Champions League, these are the people that have developed into being the backbone of your team, is how I would play it. Like, how crazy of a DM or center back are we talking, Foo Fighter? Like, crazy enough that you need to sell them so you have more money to buy that center back or DM? Or just because your center back and DM would be mad because they are important players in the squad, and now you've signed someone that's going to play in front of them? Because if it's just a dynamics issue, like, that might still have to be, unfortunately, the move. It's the thing of, like, it's a tightrope to walk that we walk here as Football Manager players, because on one hand, you get to really grow close with the narrative and your teams, and especially when you've done something as impressive as you have done, of getting up to being in the top 4 in season 3, 8 games in. You will grow attached to players. Like, you'll have your local legends and your players that you just cannot bear to live without, and like, that's just human nature. You get that. But back to my earlier point, like, you have to also have the part of you where nothing is sacred. Of just like, we are fine accepting that we have to let anyone go because no one has to be there. So the Ruben Neves one is probably one where I don't know that you need to sell him. He's just old and probably is fine transitioning to not being a star player anymore. But selling your captain is one where I'm like, yeah, that could be a hard one, especially if he's got all of the attributes you need to have a good captain, of just like insane leadership and is a good presence. Because dynamics is one where I'm like, yeah, you can mess up the team and that's bad, but you can also rebuild dynamics over time, because nothing's as fun as winning, and if you just win enough, you'll fix dynamics problems. Ooh. I mean, if we're gonna start going down to just absolute bangers from Declan Rice on a set piece, like, that's just gonna happen. That's one that's just like, yeah, I get it. That wall was very suspect, but Got to change that back. Let's attack at them. Yeah, I would agree with you, though. I would be hesitant about signing someone to play over my captain, but it is also one of those, like, you have to know where you're at in the save and know where your next steps need to be, and then make the decisions that get you to that next step, even if they're hard decisions, is my take on it. Right now, we are seeing why Arsenal is top of the league and we are not. Like, stats-wise, we're not doing bad other than our possession, but we're also not a possession-based team with my tactic. Okay. That has not been good. The fact that no one has higher than a 6.9 is not great. Okay. Stats are still looking fine. Should really check when that new right back is getting here. We have a new right back that we signed back in August from the J League, who just has not shown up yet. And I don't actually know when he'll show up, but I know the J League would have just ended in January. Wow. Ben White just made us look absolutely silly. I love that no one picks up this run at all. You just let him be on the inside. There's no one anywhere near Bukayo Saka at any point in time until right here. And then it's Jimenez, and he's not actually closing him down at all. So, like, Tavernier's not doing anything. Total defensive collapse. Okay, so this one might just be a loss. I don't know how we necessarily come back from this one. As for Smith, Brooks for Doak, Tavernier for Clivert, Adams, bring Hill out, bring in Diakite. It's the classic, we have to rotate. We don't have a squad good enough to rotate. And so then we just have to pick the games that we're going to lose. And I felt we had a better chance of beating Chelsea than not losing to Arsenal. And we didn't even beat Chelsea. Clivert, come on. You got to make those. You got to make those. That was the first good attacking play I've seen us have. Okay. Amin Adli has not looked good. And he wonders why I don't play him. It's because when I do the direct comparison of his performance versus Alex Scott, who starts in front of him, he doesn't play well. Jordi Petrovic also laying a 6.1 today leaves a lot to be desired. 87th minute. It's never too late for a comeback. There we go. There we go. Good movement. Good movement. Find the next pass, Alex Scott. Adam Smith. Wasn't the pass I thought you needed, but I'll take the goal. The comeback is on, boys. We ride. Now we hope for like 7 minutes of extra time. Oh, there we go. Hill cutting out the pass. Making the overlap. Scott got there. Oh, penalty. Penalty. I might have spoken too soon. I might have spoken too soon. Come on, ref. Penalty and a red card. Penalty and a red card. And 7 minutes of added time? We might have just gotten away with murder here in the Vitality Stadium against Arsenal. Okay, Enes Unal. Time to get big. Oh no, David Raya! He saved the penalty. No! No, Enes Unal! How dare you! How dare you! That was our chance. That was the comeback. How dare you, Enes Unal? That's it. Backup striker is now always and forever not going to be Enes Unal. Gonna go back to being Kloopy. Okay, at least we didn't let them score again right then. Yeah, it's the thing. Like, so the reason we're playing this is because we did tweak. The start of this save, I just like couldn't buy a win against anyone. And admittedly, like the first game of the season for my save was Liverpool. And Liverpool is, as much as we've been clowning on them all night and we both understand all the problems there, in the game, different story. They're still ahead of us, but like we had a really rough start to the season. We lost a testimonial match against Spurs, and then we lost 6-1 to Liverpool. We lost 3-1 to Spurs. We lost 2-6 to Brighton. We lost 3-2 to Leeds. And somewhere around here is when I was still learning how just the match engine worked and getting used to the in possession, out of possession. And I'll admit, we're not doing anything super fancy here. We're not doing great. We're just playing the positions for the players we have. But that's where we got to the in possession, we're wingbacks, and the out of possession, we're fullbacks style that we're playing right now, is to try and do that. And it's worked pretty well. Of like, we've been able to beat, we haven't lost to Chelsea. We beat Man City. Like, we can beat some of the big teams, but even then, Arsenal's always a rough one. I do appreciate the condolences, though. The thing is that we were so close. It looked like we were going to get there. And then Enes Unal missed the penalty, and we never looked so doomed. And the real sad part is it breaks our 13 games undefeated. Adam Smith, farewell. You've been a loyal servant. You've been our captain. Now you're going to Al Ittifaq. And honestly, I'm fine with that. You're 34. You've been an excellent servant to the club. We were going to give you a new contract, but it was mainly just you would probably retire in the next year or so anyways. That does still need to get us to our Kimi Nono, when do you get here conversation. No. When do you arrive? February 1st? Yikes. Okay. So that's when we get our new right back. Do we have scouting on Saba yet? Show me. Wing back in possession. I like that price tag. I also like this price tag. For Namdi Collins. Leandro Morgala. Yannick Lurs. All price tag. Do we have any more information on Saba? Have we actually been scouting him? It says it's in progress. We still don't know anything. List. We scored none of it. That's another thing that I've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed this, Foe Fighter, but that long shots seem to actually be way more important in this match engine than they were in 24. And the one real bad thing about the decision that I made in picking Bournemouth is that no one on Bournemouth is good at taking long shots. Just not great at them, the lot of them. Oh, we already picked up David Watson. There you go. Yeah, we get to play Spurs. That's the thing. I don't think my team can either. They have sometimes, but what are they unhappy about? What is your concern? Concern? Oh, is that I'm selling Antoine Semenyo? Okay, I hate team meetings. It's just a minefield. I don't want to dismiss them, but it's also like, if I think honestly the one we get there is if we get a deal that's too good to turn down, sometimes I have to put that first. I mean, I'll promise to sign a replacement, but also like, I hate making promises. Yeah, and I don't think that our teams are alone in that. I think that scoring long shots in general is just hard to do, but it's something that even in my matches or in my tactics where I put in don't take long shots or work the ball into the box, all my players do is attempt to take long shots and then miss them. And I did some, in my deep research of this, I did some poking around on the SI forums and message boards and stuff like that, like on the actual Sports Interactive websites. And I did see some things that lead me to believe that the math on long shots has been reworked from 24 to 26, that there is extra weight given to that stat from this version to the last version. Which I'm like, cool, well, that's great to know, but it also doesn't help that, like, if I sort my squad by Attributes, technical. If I short them by long shots, the best people at long shots in my team have a 13. And most of my players are like between the 12 to 10 or even lower. And more importantly, like a lot of my DMs that are the people, or my wingbacks that are the people that are going to be taking those long shots, have horrible. Chris Rigg is pretty good. You mean like that's, if that's an option you have of cashing in on an $80 million profit for Wharton, and your immediate replacement is Chris Rigg, like that's a pretty good deal. Chris Rigg is really good. Chris Rigg is one of those where I played with both of these players in that long-term Crystal Palace save that I was talking about earlier. And I tried to make that 50. I would kill for a 15. I would kill for a 15. Just anyone that could take a long shot, and I would feel confident that they could even potentially make it. Because right now, every time that someone makes a long shot, I immediately feel like it's going to be horrible. Yeah, if you get $130 million for a Wharton, the Stadium of Light goes out the window, and you build a stadium in your honor. Like, that's just so much money. Oh, we're starting to get scouting reports in for Chevio Sawa. We need more, but doesn't have the pace, which I'm not as concerned about for a DM, but we'd still like him to have. The fact that his long shots is 11 to 16 is pretty nice. Acceleration is probably a good window. I would just like to have all of the info on him, please. But yeah, no, that's definitely, if you get 130 million for Wharton, that's why I sold Wharton. I sold Wharton in my save because we got an absolutely insane offer for him that was just way too good to turn down. And I already had Chris Rigg because Chelsea had released him on a free. And then Chris Rigg never developed in my save. He just never got there, so we ended up replacing him anyways. But he was a good enough holdover until we got the person that eventually replaced Chris Rigg, which was some new gem that I signed out of South America for no money. These are some pretty great numbers. I'm liking this. And a 2.7 price tag is one that, like, even if full scout and I will make an offer of 2.7 right now. Because, yeah, 2.7 million? Good recommendations, True Fighter. If, like, any of those numbers become true. Yeah, I mean, even if we don't loan him out, like, the place we look weakest in our squad right now is left wing back. So even just giving him rotation in the first team at 17. But it's also one of those where, like, if I buy him right now for 2.7, and Dinamo Tbilisi come back and be like, hey, we'd really appreciate it if you let us keep him here on loan, I'm also okay with that. Be like, yeah, for sure. Because it's also just like, no, see, look, there we go. Speak of the devil, and it appears. It's our loan back offer. 100%. Yeah, you got it. I don't need him right now, but if you're letting me sign him as a generational Georgian talent for $2.7 million. Yeah. Don't really want the salary raise. Convince you to that. $1,400, 1,000, 2,300. You do got me. Not only do you got me, you get me. We've agreed on almost every point we have discussed tonight, so as far as I'm concerned, Foo Fighter, you're good people. It also still gets him here before he's 18, so that if we have him here the next 3 years, we get to keep him and he gets to become homegrown at club, which is huge. I do want to do the player form interactions. David Brooks, step it up. We do have the right ideas, and more people should listen to us. So right now, we are streaming 3 times a week. We stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if I get availability during the week, we will throw in surprise bonus streams. Not all of those streams are Football Manager. Right now, you have come to Football Fridays, which is why we're streaming Football Manager, and I'm talking about football news from the week. But Mondays, we do something called Dungeon Delve Mondays, where we play RPGs. Currently, we're playing through Darkest Dungeon. And then Wednesdays is midweek rank check, where I play various different games that have ranked ladder systems. This week, we played TFT. We'll probably play that again next week, but it's just a place to play all those things. Because as much as I love Football Manager, don't get me wrong, I like other games too. And we're just trying to cast a wide net, see what sticks. But I do definitely... You will be able to find me here every Friday for the foreseeable future, playing, even if it's not Bournemouth, some sort of Football Manager. And I would really appreciate it. It means a lot. And if you ever don't catch it or things like that, I do upload all of the VODs to my YouTube channel. The pinned comment that's up at the top is for a longer-term video that I've been working on that's about Magic the Gathering and the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour. But if you go there, you can also check out the YouTube channel. I usually put all of the streams up within 2 to 3 days after I stream them, and you can watch them in their entirety there as well. And if you want more Football Manager stuff, I think this is the 8th stream of this Bournemouth save. So there's literal hours and hours more of me talking about my football opinions and Bournemouth in particular available there. Would love to have the follow there as well. Yeah, no, we do stream pretty... We used to be once a week. We've moved it now up to 3 times a week. The Monday and Wednesday night streams are much later at night, though. Those are usually 10:30 to 2:30 a.m. My time. This one is much more reasonable as the 7 to 11 time block. The link should be at the top of the chat, but I can repost it here, or I can just post... There should be, if you go to the Or I can have the mod post it too here. That should be links to all of the various social medias, as well as the YouTube channel down there. The playlist for the Football Manager stuff is called Cherry on My Wayward Son, because I think half of the fun of playing Football Manager, and especially what I've been doing recently of creating content around Football Manager, is making a funny gag pun name for your save. And if we're not making funny gag puns about our saves, what are we really doing? You're a real one, Foo Fighter. It means a lot. Okay. We're looking for a way better performance against Tottenham right now. Okay. I like the play in behind. Evan Nielsen, if you were just a little bit faster, that would have been insane. Dejan Kulusevski, please don't score. Okay. They beat us at our own game. They countered better than us. Come on, guys. Live by the counter, die by the counter, I understand, but... Senesi, Jimenez. Diakite. There's Adam Smith. Oh, and there it is. That's our equalizer. There we go. There we go. That's it, baby. Let's go, Alex Scott. That's how you answer. Just score immediately. Get to the baseline, cut it back in, put it in the back of the net. Job done. Oh. Okay. We have now gotten into a quiet period where nothing has happened for the past 12 minutes in game, so... We do have the better share of the stats, other than that XG. But that Kolomwani goal was, I think, as close to a 1 XG as any goal could be. Oof. That beats Foo Fighter. I'm so sorry. What is it about Arsenal? It's just not fair. Talk about another team that just also can benefit from insane depth from their youth academy. The fact that in this game you've got Lewis Skelly coming through, you've got Ethan Nwaneri coming through, just... It's unhinged how good the youth academy is coming out of Arsenal as well. And then that on top of the fact that they just get to play in one of the richest leagues in the world and already have some of the best players. That is crazy. The fact that you tied both... Yeah, the fact that you tied them this game and last game and barely lost on the pens is insane. Oh, there we go. There we go. Evan Nielsen, finally. There it is. Sorry to break my commiseration with you. That was such a good play. Senesi out to Jimenez. Jimenez cuts it into Scott. Scott roams down to the baseline. And Evan Nielsen just so far ahead of Danso. Just nowhere near him. No one followed Evan Nielsen for that ball. But no, I'm sorry that you lost on pens. It sounds like you've done an amazing job so far with Sunderland. It is the history of Tottenham. That's one of the interesting things in my family dynamics is that my cousin is an avid, diehard Arsenal fan. And my uncle is a Spurs fan. Which all of these decisions... Oh, no. All of these decisions in my family are, you know, completely arbitrary because I'm from the Western United States and we have no allegiance to truly any Premier League team at all. We don't live in London or in England in general. But it's always funny to just hear the repartee at every family function between the two of them as they talk about that, because it is truly the history of Tottenham. They can never win. That is an accomplishment. Won the FA Cup against Chelsea, lost to Roma in the Conference League final. Oh, jeez. Way to go, Jordy. Just about had a heart attack that Colomwani was going to get a hat trick there. Okay. Let's start making some changes. Jimenez, you are exhausted. And Truffert, how injured are you? You're not really that injured, so you can come on. Kluivert is very tired. So Kluivert can get replaced with Tavernier. Gannon Doak can be replaced with Brooks. And then let's stop there for now. But silverware for Sunderland in the first 3 seasons is already an incredible overperformance. So, like, give you your flowers for winning the FA Cup. Conference League would have also been dope, but... any silverware at all is already really cool. I like our play here. That was a good save. That was close. You're very welcome. If I had a hat, I would take it off for you. But my hats are across my room, and I really want to not lose this game. Hill for Smith. And then kind of want someone to go in the midfield. All we have is Christie. Christie? Oh, nice. I like that. I like some effort. Truffert finds Scott. There we go. Scott. They're giving him so much space. Oh, there it is. That's our go-ahead goal. Tavernier never misses those. There it is. I don't usually put my park the bus on until a little bit later than this. I usually wait until about the 80th, 85th minute. But we're approaching that time. Oh, wow, Bergvall. Happily he was offsides, but also that was terrifying. Okay, win the second ball? No, no. We let Bergvall win it. There we go, Hill. There's Scott. Back to the Christie, and then Hill. Okay, Brooks. Time for redemption, Brooks. You haven't been playing well lately, but I believe you can. Oh, Christie is just gonna... Okay. He went for it himself, which, you know, we appreciate. Now is very much a... Let's bring the tempo down. Let's bring the time wasting up. Let's just kill this game. Tavernier, I don't want you to kick this ball until it's 87 minutes. Didn't listen, but... Oh, Christie! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I feel like Evan Nielsen robbed Christie of an absolute worldie there. I mean, it's a brace for Evan Nielsen, and we take those. That's huge. But also, this shot from Christie. Ryan Christie was robbed. Oh, maybe he wasn't. That looks like it might have been going wide if Evan Nielsen didn't hit it in. But that's got to win it for us. We got to be 4-2. That's it. Like, we can just be done. Win the second ball. Tyler Adams. Take our time with it. Or maybe we go for 5. Evan Nielsen hat trick. Oh my goodness. I am prescient. I can see the future Foo Fighter. Evan Nielsen hat trick. We tell them to slow down and the team says no. We'll just score 2 more goals and it won't matter. There we go, Evan Nielsen, take a bow. We get the ball back immediately. We tell the team to slow down the tempo and waste time, and they all of a sudden speed up the tempo and play faster. I wish I had answers for you. I can show you my tactic. I don't... The big thing that I am a very firm believer in my philosophy of essentially how you should play football is overloading areas and getting forward. And so it is very much, as you've noticed, a lot of our goals all look the same. It is all basically getting our wide players, which in my system is almost always my wingbacks, to dribble up to the byline. And then once they get to the byline, cut it back across. And then you have all of your attacking players cutting in to try and get onto the end of that. Scott, generally in my positions, would be playing more of an AM, but because it's Scott, I play him as a free roll. Because I'm really liking the free roll in intelligent players in this match system. So he just makes crazy runs everywhere, but sometimes he'll also be the guy out here on the baseline. And then Adams and Christie are both DMs with Crash the Box on. So they'll just show up really late. So you always have someone available for this cutback, and they will always try to just bury it, is what I'm looking for, is just play it wide, get to the byline, bring it in, cut it back, try to put it in. It's the way I like playing football. But also, I played football my entire life as a winger. That was my position, is I played right and left wing. And so that's the job I know how to do. It's the only thing I know how to do if I was playing the game, is I'm not great at dribbling through the middle. I'm not great at playing tiki-taka. I'm great at going down the wing and playing it into the middle. Evan Nielsen, amazing hat trick. Now we have Fulham in the FA Cup, which should be a lot easier. James Hill. You've been a great servant. We will miss you. He really stepped up big for us at the beginning of the season when our starting right center back went out with just a 3-month injury. So we now have 25 million to look into getting a new center back. So let's look at first our recommendations, and then we'll go through our actual list. Okay, so our signing philosophies. Already, we don't want him because he is over the age of 23, and that is our first weed out. Manu Bueno, 21, Sevilla, plays a position that we want, is in our budget. Any big immediate red flags? Not the red flags we care about. Has a good personality, has high consistency, is intelligent. Let's look at stats for you, Mano Bueno. Do I have my... I have a notebook that I have to look for, since I wrote down all of the stats that I want specifically for specific positions. This is not the right notebook. I'll be right back. I found the notebook. Okay. So, for our AMC position, we want pace acceleration. They're both 13s, so below what we want, but he would already be vying for positions that we have people to do that for. Concentration, composure, even worse than we wanted, and then technique, 13. So he's one that we can put in the short list, but maybe not the move. Manu Bueno. Gastrin, the center back. Consistent is really good. I like that low release clause. Enjoys his matches is huge. Normal personality. Poor technique, but he is a center back. Andres Castrin. No side preference. Already nice. For center back, we are looking at jumping, reach. He meets our threshold. Pace. He meets our threshold. Acceleration. He's below, but not by much. Also 6'2". That's pretty nice. Work rate. He's way below in anticipation. So he's fine. He doesn't have anything. He's a good James Hill replacement, other than he doesn't fill the main thing that James Hill did for us, in that James Hill had a 20 long throw. Luis Enrique, probably a great player. Is above our weed out of 23. Keylor Navas, same. JD Canvo, a center back from Crystal Palace. No real bad signs there. 15 jumping reach. 12 pace, 13 acceleration. Not quite fast. Work rate, almost there. Anticipation, almost there. Worth putting in the short list. Joe Scally. We already bought a wingback from the US this year, but 12 million is a really good price for him. He has good pros. No real cons. He solves our immediate left back problem, which is nice. Are we gonna sign a second American wingback this season? Probably. Who am I kidding? Pace and acceleration, 15, 14. So those are both what we want. Jumping reach, 11. It's not horrible. Composure, 10. Vision, 10. We just have great teamwork and work rate. Okay, dribbling, okay. He's fine. We will put him here. We don't find a better guy. He is very good. Who else is wanting him? Crystal Palace? Checks out. Gaio is already under bid from Bologna for free. But too old. Milano, too old. Jeremy Jacquet. Bologna for free. He's worth 90 mil and Bologna is trying to get him for free. What do we know about you, Jeremy Jacquet? Almost nothing. But you look pretty good based off of this, and someone's already trying to sign you for free. Insane. I wish we could also do that, but we don't even have the option. David Zima. Too old. Too old. Too old. Too old. Zeno de Bast. Known wonder kid. Everyone loves him. Everyone likes him. Good in the air. Good understanding of the language. We do not have that $93 million price tag, though. Ian Couleurs, 22-year-old center back. For cheap. He's come up a couple of times for us. Consistency is good. Dreads big matches, though. Not a pickup. Antonin Kinski from Spurs. Enjoys big matches. Would be a good backup goalkeeper. Patrick Dorgu. Now they have him available for loan? Interesting. I guess we'll keep that on. Jonas Wind. I personally like Jonas Wind a lot. But we're not looking to sign anyone over the age of 23. Mario Martin. Eintracht Frankfurt on a free. No big red flags. Consistency is really good, which we like. Plays in a position we play. Acceleration, he's not great. Anticipation, he meets our threshold. Aggression, bravery, and determination are insane. So is his positioning and work rate. Stamina, he's above our threshold. Jumping reach, he's not great at, so. But composure, he's fine. Vision, he's fine. I do not hate this guy. And he's available on a free. We will attempt to bring him in on a free. Okay. I wish you best of luck, Foo Fighter. Inter Milan. Tough fight. You've got this, though. Okay. You've got this, Foo Fighter. I believe. Don't know about Lenzo Berardi. Just too far off all of the things we'd want from him, and he plays in a position we don't play. So, the first immediate thing. Radu Dragshin. Are they not renewing Radu Dragshin's contract? Like, what's going on, Spurs? You're just gonna let Radu Dragshin leave? Because if you're just gonna let him leave, I will 100% sign Radu Dragshin. No, okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what those offers are. Yorel Hato. Great recommendation. No way we could ever sign him. Weyen from Darmstadt. Winger. He's got the pace and acceleration we want from our winger. Anticipation, he's close. Crossing, he's close. Dribbling, he's close. Jumping reach, he is abysmal. He's 5'3" and has 2 jumping reach. So, can't jump at all. Technique, he only has an 8, and composure, he has a 7. So yeah, we are going to pass on Jesse Weyen, but we'll put him on the short list. If he grows, we want to be one of the first people to know about it. Harvey Barnes, we'd love to have Harvey Barnes. He's even transfer listed. But we do not have Harvey Barnes money, nor is he under the age of 23. Carlos Martin, under bid from Leeds, wanted by West Ham, loves big matches. Plays striker and right attacking mid. Really doesn't actually play striker. They're trying to convince me that this man is a striker, but he is definitely not a striker. Pace and acceleration are whatever. They're almost there. Anticipation is also almost there. Crossing, he's not great at. Dribbling, he is very good at. Finishing, he's incredible at. Jumping reach, he's not bad. Technique, he's got. And composure, he's got. This guy is worth trying to sign. Okay. There we go. Carlos Martin. Brian Rodriguez, no. Ali Khoury plays positions we care about. Is fast. We don't know enough about him, so we will not make any actions other than to put him on this list for a year. Thiago Fernandez, free agent for Club Freiburg. He's fast. He hits most of the things we would like him to be. I don't know about Thiago Fernandez, but I don't hate him. Eduardo Mata is a goalkeeper. Leonardo Medicino, DMMC. Not quite there yet, but could get there pretty easily. Enea Aguiliz, center back, is the position we came here to look for. Loves big matches. Out with an injury for 4 to 5 months. Not great. Base acceleration, jumping reach, fine. Anticipation, he's absolutely incredible at. And then his work rate is almost there. I don't hate him. We could probably find a better center back though. Medegiye. I think that's not a bad deal, Foo Fighter. 38 million for Connor Bradley. He would fit in for the Adam Wharton role if you're still thinking about selling Adam Wharton. It really depends on which Connor Bradley you get. Is my opinion on that. It's like, are you going to get the Connor Bradley that played at Chelsea? Or are you going to get the Connor Bradley that played everywhere else he's played that was one of the best players ever? Oh no, I'm thinking of Conor Gallagher. That's who I'm thinking of. The second I said that, I was like immediately, no, I'm thinking of the wrong Connor. Connor Bradley for 38 is not a bad idea, I don't think. Yeah. Who I'm thinking of. Connor Bradley, the right back from Liverpool. I mean, has he developed well? Because I would say, if you're looking for a good right back, that's a really good right back. And he's English, which is, well, he's homegrown in nation, which would be huge. I think I would sign the Liverpool right back for 38 million. Ooh. Okay, so this is not a bad deal. He's got such good physicals, is the thing. These physicals are so good. Yeah. Who are you talking about, Foo Fighter? This person or Connor Bradley? Because I'd believe you if you said Connor Bradley is actually very good. This guy also just looks great. It looks like these stars are lying to me, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm not seeing. Because, like, he's slow-ish, but, like, that's fine. So he's not actually that slow. His stamina's incredible. His jumping reach isn't the best, but we can look past that. Composure could be better, and passing could be... Like, the thing is he's just, like, not quite where I want him in most things, but physically he is an animal. Connor Bradley with one N. Okay. See, I swear I'm not dyslexic. I'm just horrible at spelling. Yeah. I mean, I know nothing about this man currently on my thing, but he has been at Liverpool forever, which means he'll be homegrown in nation for all of the European stuff that you're going to be doing now because you're at Sunderland. Yeah, Maget Gay looks meh in my save too. The thing is he looks like a trap. Of just like looking at all of his stats and like he has such good physicals, but he's just not quite good enough literally anywhere else. And he's 23, so I don't know that he's getting really any better. Federico Casa. I like a committed player. I like a good personality. $19. Wanted by Bologna. He's not there yet, but he is 19. So if he gets there, we want to know about it. But right now, we are not interested. Quintero. I do like someone that can play across all of the front. Crossing's really high. Not fast enough for us, though. He has not an embarrassing jumping reach. He's not as good at dribbling as we want him to be. His technique is where we want it to be. Composure is not quite there. But he has good decisions and flair. How did the intermatch go, Foo Fighter? Meets our acceleration pace. Meets our dribbling and auto crossing. He meets our technique. Composure, concentration are out there. Tied 1-1 against Enter is not bad. In my books, as far as I'm concerned, that's a win when you're the weaker of those two sides. Ooh, here's another good goalkeeper. Would immediately become the second best goalkeeper at our club. From Barcelona. We like aerial reach of 14. We like 15 reflexes. And then we like 13 agility. Literally, if this agility gets to 14, this guy's perfect for us. And he's pretty cheap. Doesn't solve our current problem that we're actually looking through all of the lists for, but this is what we wanted. This was the goal of the stream. Also, where did my music go? Give me back my music. Okay, so consistent we like. Consistency is very good. Oh, don't like seeing those being that low. Concentration, composure are also slightly lacking. Technique is also lacking. Full Fortuni, not for us. Javi Sereno. Doesn't like big matches. Get out of my recommendations. Alvaro Cortez. Center back, this is what we're looking for. Consistent performer we like. Okay. Now on to the next test. We get to look at the stats. Jumping reach, pace, acceleration. Not far off from what we want. Anticipation is below standard. Work rate is below standard. Stamina is below standard. But he is 20. Maybe. He's a solid maybe. Facundo Gonzalez. Also consistent. Doesn't hate big matches. A big win for us. 6'4", 15 jumping reach, 12 pace, 13 acceleration. Already loving what I'm seeing. 13 anticipation, not far off. 12 work rate, not bad. 15 stamina. They only want $1 million for this guy? This guy would be great. Yeah, I think we have found the first guy we are going to make an offer on. Ooh, we can just approach to sign him. Getting him on free would be even better. We can't get him right now. Wants 0 playing time. We are making some good deals. There we go. I am fine with Facundo Gonzalez. I think he's going to be pretty good. Eduardo San Miguel. He's not actually good in the position we would want to play him in. Marcel Beifus. 6 days and 3 weeks. Consistent. Or technique. Not a huge fan of you, Beifus. Yeah, that's everyone. Doesn't solve our immediate problem, but and United went Hill. We're not also in a huge rush because this just means we play Milan Jovic, who we know is going to be absolutely insane. So I am fine with this. Fulham's coming up. Evan Nielsen is a target for Al Hilal. That means silly money for Evan Nielsen. How much are you willing to give me for Evan Nielsen, Al Hilal? 71 million? I could see us accepting 71 million for Al Hilal. Garabashvili, his transfer has been delayed. Will Dennis comes back from fracturing his arm, and now he's out with a cold. Ooh, we get Amor Nadaye scouting back. Aerial reach looks good. Reflexes look like they could be good. And agility could be insane. Just like a little bit more information. Not that I don't trust you, Foo Fighter, because you have been batting 1,000 on your recommendations. Charlie Osborne can go out. One thing that I do need to get better at, and I don't know if you've been doing it a ton, Foo Fighter, is I do feel like I should get better at doing stuff through Transfer Room. And that probably might be what I spend most of my time on next stream, because next stream's going to be our transfer window, like, special. Is figuring out how the Transfer Room works and using that to full effectiveness. Because I think it's really cool from the videos that I've watched and the little bit that I have experienced with it, but honestly, I usually just find myself forgetting that it exists. I say, he looks absolutely amazing. Like, I don't doubt you. He looks really good on mine. They said his scouting was done, and all it did was give me all of the ranges, and nothing was filled in. So, first, I don't believe them that the scouting's done. That's my immediate response. Second, I'm really in my goalkeepers, I'm really only looking at 3 stats. I'm looking at, let's pull up Jordy for comparison. I'm looking at agility, which I'd like agility to be 14 or higher. This is where Jordy kind of lets us down. He's only a 13. I'm looking at aerial reach, which we want to be 14 or higher. Yeah, I've used the Transfer Room. I didn't use it just now. I think we're going to really dive into it next stream, because I only have about 20 more minutes left in stream, and I think I want to get through this Fulham match and then end there. But yeah, the in and out has been interesting, and I feel like it's actually really powerful, and I just haven't used it enough. Nagalo's back. He's back from international duty. Let's go. That makes this way easier, because then... Oh, Milicevic is still injured. Oh, come on. Who else do I have? I have Oscar Bevan. I don't want to play Bevan, so we'll just play Messi. Petrovic, Richardson, Christie, Ganadok, Brooks. Ganadok is our starter. So let's just do that, and then you can be... Adley, and then Tavernier, and Unal. We don't actually want to play Unal, because Unal missed the penalty, and that is unforgivable, so let's play Poopy. But in possession, we want Poopy to be a channel forward. And then Soler. This, because I made this poorly. Okay, there we go. Don't like not having a goalkeeper on the bench. So McKenna, you come with us. We'll leave anything all behind. Yeah, like those stats look absolutely insane. Like, all likelihood is that I'm probably gonna join you in signing this in GI goalkeeper, because he looks absolutely amazing. And I'm not even feeling too bad about that. It is just one of those where it's like, I want to see what he looks like in my save right now. Because knowing what he can look like is good, but it doesn't do me anything if I don't know what he actually looks like. And right now, my scouting is not sufficient enough for me to know what he actually looks like, which is unfortunate. Okay. Last match of the night. Let's win. Always want to end on a win. Especially, we don't want to lose to Fulham in the cup. I'm not liking what we're seeing so far out of our backup second 11. Also, why are you swapped Brooks and Adley? Yeah, do this. Also, Adley, you don't have to be free roll. Although you're not bad at it. I don't hate it. Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. Stats are looking better now. We have shots. None of them have been on target. 2 corners. The fact that we have had 0 highlights the entire first half is not a comforting feeling. Yeah, that was an entire half with no highlights. I mean, we can put the positive spin on it, and we probably should. And the positive spin is that we had an entire first half with our second 11 with few changes, and they allowed nothing. And Christie almost made that. That was going to be incredible. But let's make some changes. Richardson can be replaced with Adams. Rufer with Jimenez. Don't really have anyone that can come on for Adam Smith, so Adam Smith's going to have to just stay. Brooks for Doak. Tavernier for Clivert. Also, let's attack them. It's like we're clearly statistically winning this game. Like, we're getting all of the results that we want in the stats. We're just not actually winning the game. Ben Ganadok finds Clivert. Oh, Adley is down. Yeah, Adley is injured and playing poorly, so Scott for Adley. Okay. We got 20 minutes. Encourage the boys. Fire them up. We can win this. We have unabashedly been the better team here. And it's not even really close. Okay. Ryan Christie drives it back in. There it is. That's it. We get there. 81st minute, Alex Scott from Ryan Christie at the near post. Oh. Yep, Vern Leno should have done way better than that. And so should either of Diop or Berge. Thunderberg. They're all right there and did nothing. Oh, Senesi with the long throw. Oh, Tyler Adams almost scored that off the long throw. Lower time waste. Try and kill this game. Come on, come on, come on. We got 3 more minutes. We can do there. We can get there. Is it a pretty win? No. Is it a win? Yes. We win the second ball every time. Ben Gannon-Doak. Oh, there it is. He's back. He's back, baby. It's Ben Gannon-Doak. That's just what he does. It's been this entire stream and he hasn't scored a goal, but there he is, back in form. Picks it up on the edge of the box. They give him way too much space and then just slots that far post. There we go. We did it. We're ending on a win. Whew. There we go. Okay, won our next round of the FA Cup. Adley, just a tight thigh. Okay. Interesting that Iraola ended up at Fulham because we took his job. Hey, Winnie Austin, how's it going? Welcome back. Good to see you again. I hope you're still here. We're not going as late this time as we did last time, so I'm about to actually hop off, but it's great to see you. Thanks, Foo Fighter. Thanks for that. Yeah. You're coming in right at the very end, Winnie Austin. I'm about to get off for the night. I've already been going for 4 hours, but it's great to see you again. Schedule's a little bit different on Fridays just because I don't have a D&D game immediately before stream on Friday like I do on Monday and Wednesday. So we get to end a little bit earlier and I get to get a little bit more sleep. But thank you all for being here. It's been great. This has been a fun stream. I look forward to seeing y'all again next week, hopefully. And for Winnie Austin, have a good day at work. Or hopefully a good weekend. It should be Saturday for where you are already. Yeah. I'll be back on Monday. We're going to go back into Darkest Dungeon again then. And it's going to be a good time. Till then, thank y'all. I've been Sam. This has been the Jank Drawer. Stay classy.